24-hour rainfall totals. If we look at rain rates, obviously the heaviest rain, just as I was pointing out, right along that leading edge of storms. Again, this is rain rates. You get into some of these areas where it's in pink, and we're talking about rain rates of 1 inch to 2 inches per hour coming down right now. Now it's moving pretty quickly, but it doesn't have to sit over you very long for some of these rain rates to add up, and you're talking about a good 1/2 inch in next to no time. Some of the heaviest rain at this point moving through the Calhoun area, continuing to lift its way to the north and to the northwest there, or excuse me, northeast, moving towards Ellijay. There have been reports in extreme North Georgia of as much as 3 inches of rain already. And again, this system just moved into North Georgia here within the last hour, as we continue to see very heavy rainfall moving across portions of North Georgia. Hey folks, thanks for joining us. Adam Klotz here, streaming live on the Fox 5 YouTube channel, giving you breaking weather information as we're looking at this large line of storms sweep across portions of North Georgia, really bringing some very heavy rain. This is one we've been highlighting for a good, ever since Friday of last week. We've known that Wednesday is a day where a big line of storms is going to be moving on through the area. Today that is happening, and we've been set up for it. We have a slight risk of severe weather here throughout the afternoon hours. Certainly flooding is going to be an issue, and I can tell you right now what you're looking at is the rain rates, and you get on that leading edge where you're looking at some of those pinks and those purples, and those rain rates are what we're talking about is as good as 1 inch of rain, 2 inches of rain coming down per hour. So that's a lot of very heavy rain. We are under flood warnings, flood watches, excuse me, that lasting until tomorrow morning. So the flood watch is in place until tomorrow morning. A wind advisory, maybe you've noticed that one, the wind advisory until 7 p.m. Gusting winds all the time from 25 to 35 miles an hour. So a whole lot of wind out there. We are streaming live on Fox 5. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send them my way, and I'll answer those questions as we go. You can also reach out to me on Twitter. It's Adam K Fox 5, and on Facebook, Adam Klotz Fox 5. I'm taking questions from all of those areas as we continue to track this forecast as it sweeps across, track these storms as they sweep across portions of North Georgia. I am going to back you up here a little bit so you can get a wider view of this storm. We've actually, and now I want to be careful saying this, but this line of storms has produced some tornadoes along the Gulf Coast. We've seen at times a little bit of rotation here in portions of North Georgia, and we're actually picking up a little bit of rotation right now. This historically so far in portions of North Georgia, and this is just outside the Rockmart area, this rotation has been upper level. It hasn't gotten to the point where that rotation's made its way to the ground where we'd even say it's a tornado, but we are talking about some rotation within this. So it's a very strong line of storms on the front edge where we've seen pretty good winds gusting up at times and very, very heavy rain. I can put on our Barron button, and this highlights areas where the models are predicting some of the worst, some of the severest little cells within this line of storms. And you can tell right in the Rockmart area right now, this is a cell that likely dropping a little bit of hail, certainly very heavy rain, strong winds, and some upper level rotation. Now, will it turn into a tornado? That's unlikely, but the conditions are there. We're actually looking at about a 5% chance of tornadoes really anywhere across North Georgia here today. So it's something that's feasible here over the course of the day. I do want to put a track on this. This is the nastiest cell out there right now, so we'll see where it's heading in the next 15 minutes or so, next 8 minutes. And it's moving towards Crossroads in 8 minutes, Crowville in 8 minutes as well. The top side of this storm also moving that direction, moving towards Iron Stab here in about 5 minutes. So just some smaller communities there on the way as this just passes just north of the Dallas area. The nastiest line of storms, but again, this is surrounded by a whole lot of very heavy rain. So it's not just this one little cell that we're paying attention to, it's all of it. A lot of big rainmakers here along this system. Again, this is our Barron button turned on, so it does highlight some of the areas where they're saying, hey, this is a little cell you need to pay extra close attention to. We have another one of those cells. Maybe not any rotation, but still you see that bowing in it. Very strong winds along this little line of storms, moving this direction as well, moving off to the north and to the east. That's another cell that we're paying close attention to. We can put a track on it for you. This one moving into Oakman in about 10 minutes, 11 minutes, Sweden in 13 minutes. Again, this is going to be the heaviest rain you're going to see for the day. Rain will continue on the backside of this, but this is that initial blast where you end up seeing pretty good rainfall right along that boundary. I'll clear their storm tracks for you and put it back into our out of our Barron button for you and turn it back into our regular model here as we continue with our next rad, our single sites. This is our level 2. Is what we're paying attention to. And you do see some of these bowing areas where you get that leading edge of the storm and you get a little bit of a bow in it. That's often where you see some of the heaviest storms, some of the worst weather. That's been the case so far here today. Let me back you out and see where these storms are moving in general. The nastiest stuff so far has been in extreme North Georgia. We've seen as much as 3 inches of rain in some of the North Georgia mountains, stretching though from North Georgia all the way down to LaGrange, continuing to see good amount of rainfall. I do want to go back in on this little cell. It's the one to pay the closest attention to right into the Dallas area at this point. It's been the one that we've continued to see just a little bit of rotation, and actually this has had a history of rotation. There it just turned off. So it's right there on that border. It is not turning into a tornado, but the clouds are spinning, and that's the first step. We do have a 5% chance of seeing a tornado spin up today, so it is something we're paying very close attention to. Still a nasty little cell there, continuing to move its way off. 10 minutes now until it makes it to Crossroads, 11 minutes until Crowville, and that's one of the stronger little lines of storm. Rockmart now on the backside of that storm. Again, you can continue to send me any questions you have about when the weather will arrive where you are. Any questions of that nature, continue to share them with me here on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, that's right, we do them all. Send those pictures, send those photos in, send in any photos you have, send in any comments you have. We'll continue to pay attention to them. I'm going to back you out here a little bit, catch my breath, and I am still here if you have anything you want to talk about. Hey everyone, Adam Klotz here again in the Fox 5 newsroom, taking a look at this massive line of showers and storms sweeping through portions of North Georgia. New information just in. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel and on fox5atlanta.com. We are continuing to watch this line of storms that, for one, is producing a lot of rain, producing winds out in front of it, gusting 20 to 35 miles an hour consistently, all out in front of this line of storms. And then you can see on the bottom of your screen some new highlights there, some new colors popping up that you hadn't noticed just a moment ago. That is a tornado watch, now lifting farther up into portions of North Georgia. The conditions are there. We've actually seen some tornadoes over the course of the day well down along the Gulf Coast. Now, there are no tornadoes right now, but the watch has been extended into portions of central Georgia at this point. So that's something we're going to have to continue to pay attention to as this line of storms continues to lift its way on up. Among those in the tornado watch would be LaGrange over towards Thomaston and then Forsyth as well. So it is a little bit on the south end, but this still all lifting its way to the north and to the east, meaning all those conditions eventually could work their way up into portions of North Georgia, including metro Atlanta. And even if we don't get those, still there's plenty to pay attention to all along this entire line of storms, which let me move you up a little bit farther to the north now at this point so you can look at this line of storms. This line of storms all along it, very strong winds along this leading edge, very, very heavy rain. At times, an inch or two of rain falling per hour in some of these heavier areas. Now, it's moving relatively quickly, but it doesn't take a whole lot. We're talking about standing water on the roadways, and then you can tell rain continues on the backside of this system. We are going to be seeing rain all the way through the main commuting hours here, through rush hour into the early evening hours before eventually this stretches itself off into the east and we begin to clear off a little bit. But again, the newest information, the newest things we're getting here in the Storm Center is that we now have a tornado watch on really the south end of the entire state, stretching up into portions of central Georgia, all areas where we're concerned about the possibility of a tornado. The ingredients are there. We've got the heat, we've got the instability, we've got some of the shear needed to spin up a little bit of tornadic activity. Now, farther to the north, we may not get a tornado, but we have seen a little bit of the rotation that is necessary for a tornado to pop up. We've seen it here and there. Let's try to bring it in here and see if there's any rotation right now. There isn't any. One particular cell that we've seen rotation several times, has a history of it, is right here in the Dallas area. I can put a little bit of a storm track on this and we can see where it's moving. Again, no rotation right now, but this has just continued to spin every now and then as it moves through the Dallas area, now moving towards Crossroads and Crowville here in about 10 minutes. It's been right in this section that we've seen this heaviest rain, the strongest storms, and that has begun to spin every now and then, bringing us at least a possibility of a tornado, as we do have tornado watches now stretching in portions of central Georgia and south Georgia. Those are the areas we're really paying attention to at this current point. Of course, you can continue to connect with me. Any questions you have about your commute, we are speaking here on our YouTube channel. There's a comment section. Write your comment there. You can talk to me there. You can also talk to me on Facebook and on Twitter as we continue to have tweets coming in about just nasty weather out there continuing across portions of North Georgia. Maybe you're in an area where you're not getting it yet. I know that you're at least seeing that wind. The wind has been very strong, 20, 30 miles an hour. Still in metro Atlanta. We're dry at this point. If you're curious about the timing, you're trying to get out the door and maybe beat this rain, everything's pointing towards right in the heart of rush hour, creeping this direction by 4 and then lingering till 5, 6, 7. Obviously, that initial line will pass on by. That's going to be the strongest, heaviest showers, but there's going to be a couple more rounds of fairly significant rainfall moving through the area. The ground already still a little saturated from a week ago. It won't take a whole lot wind. I would expect there to be some downed trees here through the overnight hours. Strong winds and just saturated ground. As I back you up, this is a major system stretching across portions of Alabama into portions now of North Georgia. I had been looking at some of the 24-hour rainfall totals. And if you look back towards Mississippi, if you look back towards portions of Alabama, easily 4 to 5 inches of rain this has dropped. So that's something to be aware of. Something similar is happening here in North Georgia. And actually, as we speak, I'm beginning to see a little bit of rotation here well to the north. This does not mean tornado, but that's why we have the tornado watch to the south. The ingredients are there. This is the exact same one I was just talking about through Rockmart, through the Dallas area, Iron Stab. that has continued to show just a little bit of upper level rotation. Now, if it were a tornado, we could look at our velocity and we would be able to pick up some of those tornadic type movements. We haven't been seeing that so far. We have not been, but it's still something we can look at, and there it is. This is where they're picking up the rotation. I'm not seeing a whole lot here that would warrant any kind of concerns for a tornado, so just upper level winds beginning to spin a little bit, but that is the first step of what eventually could become a tornado. This is that same little cell that just continues to spin up a little bit, and then it dies down, it spins up a little bit, and it dies down, continuing to move to the north and to the west. To the north and to the east. At this point, still only about 9 minutes out from Bartow and 9 minutes out from Cartersville as it continues to lift that direction. This is a cell that I'm sure everyone here is paying attention to. David Chanley and Jeff Hill continuing to track this exact same storm in the Weather Center online on social media, and then preparing for the forecast tonight at 5 and at 6. But this is one cell along a huge line of cells that is giving us maybe the biggest problems. I'm going to back you back out and kind of show you the full picture one more time of what we're paying attention to and what we're looking at here in the studio. Back to my level 2, this is the typical radar scene you're used to, and if I back you out, you can tell. Massive line, it's along the leading edge, it's the biggest concern. So if you're in one of these areas along that leading edge, that's where you're seeing the heaviest rain. If you're just tuning in, you're wondering what all that orange is in portions of central Georgia and farther off to the south. That is a tornado watch. It means the conditions are ripe here for a tornado to spur up, and you're seeing it's all coming right along this line. There have been tornadoes earlier today along the Gulf Coast. The farther south you go, the more heat there is, the more humidity, the more moisture, all those things helping play into that. But we have seen temperatures in LaGrange today as high as 80 degrees. So that is why you're seeing where exactly this tornado watch is. That's why it's lifted into some of those areas. It does include LaGrange because they did see the temperatures run up to 80. Thomaston, over towards Forsyth and Macon, all areas where the temperatures have climbed a good 10 to 20 degrees warmer than you're seeing in extreme North Georgia. Still getting weather in extreme North Georgia, but just not as much heat, which would eventually fuel some of those storms. We're looking at continuing to get this information in, and it looks like Paulding County, these are just estimates coming in, but Paulding County seeing this line of storms maybe sweep through in the next hour or so, and that's pretty consistent with what we're looking at, getting into the metro area and then pushing its way farther off to the west here, really into the heart of the drive time. Again, you can connect with me on the YouTube channel. Just write in your comment. I'd be happy to answer those. On Twitter, it's Adam K Fox 5, and on Facebook, Adam Klotz Fox 5. I'm going to continue to be here following this line of storms, and I'll update you as I see anything that needs to be updated. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Adam Klotz here, continuing our live streaming coverage on YouTube on fox5atlanta.com of this line of storms that's sweeping across portions of North Georgia, continuing to drop very heavy rain. That's just one of many concerns. We're under a flood watch. That until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. There's a whole lot of watches and warnings that I want to run you through. All of them a concern for us here in North Georgia. We're actually under a slight risk of severe weather, and that's across all of North Georgia as well. And most recently, a tornado watch issued for southern portions. Lots to talk about here as we continue on through this evening, where we're talking about at least moderately severe weather to be paying attention to be concerned about. Again, there's the tornado watch, there's a flash flood watch, and there's a wind advisory, all stretching across different portions of Georgia. If I take you back a little bit, the big one that was just added now, you see everything there in the orange. That's the really important one. That's the tornado watch. Saw some questions on Twitter asking about why was the tornado watch just included this far north? Why is it just now working its way here? Well, really, throughout the last couple of days, an area along the Gulf of Mexico has been highlighted as a spot where we could see some tornadic activity, and in fact we already have so far today. Small little tornadoes have already spun up in Walton County, down on the Gulf Coast, and then farther up to the north, even in portions of southern Alabama. Now, those conditions have just continued to pump in that heat. We're getting warmer temps than maybe originally expected in places like LaGrange, and as a result, we are now seeing a lifting of this watch, now including larger portions here of Georgia. So what we're going to do here is take you in and look where are we concerned about as far as the watch goes. Obviously, a tornado could happen in any of these places, but LaGrange is the spot where the temperatures were up to 80 degrees. And you get that much heat mixed in with the rest of the instability. That's a place where we could see some spinning up of a storm. This is the case over towards Thomaston, stretching over towards Forsyth and Macon, all areas we're concerned about. And really, it's this line of storms you're now seeing moving into LaGrange. Any one of those individual cells could spin up and become something a little more severe. Of course, we've been doing this off and on for the last 45 minutes. Tell me where you are. Ask your questions. I'd be happy to answer them. You can do so on the stream you're watching on YouTube, or you can reach out to me on Twitter. Or on Facebook. It's Adam Klotz Fox 5 on Facebook, Adam K Fox 5 on Twitter. Send me those questions. I'll be happy to answer them and talk about how your forecast is going to be affected, because I'm afraid that a lot of commuters are going to be dealing with some really nasty weather as we get going here into the evening hours, right in the heart of that commuting from 4 to 6 o'clock to 7 p.m. Those are times that we're really going to be concerned about possibly seeing that weather sweep right on through the metro area right in those moments. And it's during those moments that the water could start standing. We're still talking about winds 25 to 35 miles an hour. And now, of course, there's a possibility of some tornadoes on the south side of the city. So something we have to continue to watch. Now, off and on, if I can bring you just a little bit to the north, off and on we have seen some rotation even up into the north through the Dallas area, now lifting up towards I-75. It doesn't appear to have any rotation right now, but this entire line, this leading edge, this is the biggest concern as far as getting strong winds and just very, very heavy rain that could be standing on the roadways. You see just that line running along 75 to the north. That's a spot where I wouldn't be surprised if visibility down to a quarter of a mile. We've already gotten reports of that. This rain has been so heavy that it really limits visibility and you start to see standing water. Now, this isn't something we've talked about a lot, but it's the reason the flash flood warning runs all the way until tomorrow, the watch, is because on the back side of this, we get a little bit of a break, and then there's another round of heavier rain. Not as condensed of a line of storms, but still heavier rain. So we are going to see kind of a 1-2 punch with this system. The second punch continuing to bring more showers as we continue to watch this one move on through the area. Now, we have several different products here that we can pay closer attention to. The rain rate, and that's as important as anything when we talk about flooding. It's all along this leading edge that we're most concerned about, very heavy rain. And just looking at this, you would be concerned about the driving conditions now north on 75 as you get up into Cherokee and Bartow County. You run right along. This is some of the heaviest rain when you see that pink, and it's running right along 75 to the north. That's an area where visibility likely very low all along 75 there to the north from Grassdale up towards the Corbin area. low visibility and likely standing water, because we have seen, and you get into these deep pink colors, that's a couple of inches falling per hour. Now it's moving quicker than that, but it doesn't take a whole long time for this to add up to an inch or two of precipitation on the roads relatively quickly. So that is a little corridor where I would be especially concerned here as we get going here into the early part of the commuting hours here, just now 3:30, so still a little early for it. But I think the heaviest rain, again, if you're trying to time this thing out, the heaviest rain is going to be moving into the metro area here in about half an hour to an hour, which is when a lot of folks will start to take off. You can kind of tell the movement of this storm. If you're back into portions like Rome, Floyd County, where you've already seen a whole lot of rain, well, it's not totally over. There's going to be more rain on the backside of this system. So we are concerned about rounds and rounds of showers today. Again, we appreciate you tuning in to the fox5atlanta.com, Fox 5, the YouTube channel. If you do have any questions or comments, please do feel free to post them on the YouTube channel or on Twitter or on Facebook. I'm going to catch my breath here for just a moment. If anything else spins up, I will be here and updating you as we move on through the afternoon. Hey folks, Adam Klotz here, joining you from the Fox 5 newsroom. We're tracking storms sweeping across North Georgia. Again, any questions you have, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. Actually, as we speak, any chances of a tornado producing up upon 75 north, such if you're traveling in and out of the state? Well, this is something we've touched on off and on. The vast majority of the tornado activity is going to be happening south of the metro area, south of I-20, and that's actually where the tornado watch is at this point. I can back you up a little bit. We have had confirmed tornadoes along the Gulf Coast today, one in Walton County. We've seen tornadoes in portions of southern Alabama. You can tell this large area where the biggest concern for tornadoes is, that's the tornado watch area. It's the orangish color. The reason for that is just the temperatures have been much warmer there. In LaGrange, temperatures as warm as 80 degrees today, and in some cases getting up into the middle 70s for Forsyth County, the Macon area, Thomaston. That's enough to make you concerned about the possibility of tornadoes. Now, your specific question was asking about along I-75 and north. I actually think you're going to be okay. We have seen a little bit of rotation, but if I take you to the north, what you're going to see is that main line is kind of already past you if you're really far north on 75. It's that initial line that is causing most of the problems. I'll zoom us in here a little bit. And you're seeing this initial line that at this point is moving over towards Ellijay, Pine Log. That's the line that we've seen the rotation. It hasn't created any tornadoes, but that's where the rotation has been. If you're on the back side of this, yes, you're going to continue to get rain. At times you might get heavy rain, but it's this initial line that concerned us. So if you're heading north on I-75, to answer your question, I actually think you're fine. You're good to go, Desmond. So you're going to be okay. Now for the rest of us, the concern is moving back towards the south, where that leading edge hasn't yet made it. I'm now looking at the metro area. It's the leading edge that's going to be the largest concern at this point, moving towards Villa Rica, in the Dallas area, stretching up towards Marietta. That is going to be sweeping into the metro area within the next half an hour to an hour. So we're talking 4:30 to 5 p.m. when the real heavy rain starts to sweep through this area. If there is any sort of spin up, that'll be where it's going to happen. But as we talk about severe weather, we do have a button here, or we call it's our Barron button, Live Vipers from Barron. I can turn that on and it highlights some of the areas that are maybe of the biggest concern. And right there one is just at this point to the east of I-75. So that kind of alleviates that concern if you're heading out of the state, if you're heading on the road. But here is another one of these little cells, possibly some core up in the upper levels with this, some hail up in the upper levels of the core of this little cell. But that is one where you're talking about stronger winds. And again, that's all happening right along the leading edge. So it's something that we're paying attention to. In the metro area, though, we do continue to be dry for right now, continuing to stay dry. I'll turn it back to our level 2 reflectivity. That's where you get the best view of where the rain is and where it's moving. Lightning, these aren't really big thunderstorms. Total there of 11 lightning strikes in the last 10 minutes. The positive ones are the ones that are most likely to hit something in a tree, a house, and cause a fire. The negative, less likely to do so. So we have seen several of those. I really think the bigger concern still at this point is the flooding potential right along this leading edge. And I can turn on the 24-hour rainfall totals, and you can see when you get back into Floyd County, you get into these yellows back stretching towards Birmingham. That is a good 2 to 3 inches of rain in the last 24 hours. Now, out in front of it, we still haven't seen as much yet in Atlanta because we're still waiting for that heavy rain to eventually work its way in. But that's one of the big concerns. The other concern is the wind advisory that remains issued until 7 p.m. this evening. Winds gusting 25 to 35 miles an hour. If you do make it through the evening hours, that is when this all begins to wind down. A little bit of rain on the backside, and still with saturated ground, trees can fall. But that is the heaviest rain moving through, I think, here on the leading edge for most folks at this point. Back to our level 2. There is another point that you need to make. Anytime you get big storms like this late in the fall, there's an additional chance for flooding. The leaves already dead, still hanging on the trees. Strong rain, a good wind knocks them down, plugs the drainage, and then you start to see flooding in that manner as well. So the water stands a little bit longer. So if you are driving through any of these areas, take a little extra time and be careful on the roadways. Desmond, you're welcome for answering that question. Ola, hello to you as well. Happy to answer any questions anyone has here as we look at the comment section on the Fox 5 page. Of course, Twitter as well, Facebook as well. Continue to ask those questions. I'll be happy to answer them. I'm going to take a little break, maybe get a glass of water, but I will be here if anything changes. Continue to send those questions in. Thanks. Hey everyone, Adam Klotz here in the Fox 5 newsroom, continuing to track big storms, heavy rain sweeping across portions of North Georgia, the metro area now getting to the point where we're seeing some rain on the horizon, a few little storms, a few little cells out in front of this main line beginning to spill into the perimeter. We're beginning to see just a little bit of rain there on the west side of the city, obviously all associated with a much larger band of rain, very heavy rain at times. It's going to be sweeping across the city here within the next hour or so, unfortunately right in the heart of that evening commute. Heavy rain right now from Villa Rica to Carrollton, farther to the north to Dallas, and stretching all the way up into getting into the Blue Ridge area. So this line of storms continues to sweep through, and down in LaGrange, another area where we're seeing showers sweeping through at this point. Now, a concern that we've had here, and we actually beginning to see a couple of questions coming in on our Facebook page. One was of wind south of the metro area. Well, consistently, we are under a wind advisory until 7 p.m. today. Consistently, south of I-20, we're seeing winds gusting to 25 to 35 miles an hour. That is a concern going all the way until 7 p.m. Another concern, if I take you back even more, you see everything there highlighted in the orange. That is a tornado watch. Obviously, if a tornado were to spin up, the winds there would be even stronger, and really winds all along this line, this denser color, this dark red, deep red color. Anything along that line is going to be producing stronger winds as it moves through the area. So once you get on the back side of this, we've actually looked, and the winds not too bad, 4, 5, 10 miles an hour at the most, but everything in front of this line of storms, that is the concern as we continue here through the afternoon hours. Now, there was another question about how much rain we can expect, or what areas will see the most rain. This is dropping rain fairly consistently across the state. So this entire line, if I take you just a little bit to the north, this entire line has been consistent about how much rain it's dropping. We've gotten reports so far that on the north end, and if I bring you in here, we'll see where the north end is currently running. It's that leading edge that is dropping most of the rain. But along the north end now at Newport, down towards Nelson, Talking Rock, in that area, we're seeing as much as 2 to 3 inches of rain through Ellijay. These are areas where the rain has really come down very heavy as this has swept through portions of North Georgia along I-75. Has seen already 2 to 3 inches of rain, but it's been pretty consistent. I would expect all across North Georgia we could get a good 2 inches. Now, this initial round is where the heaviest rain is, but if I back you out enough, you will see, yes, there's still rain falling back in Birmingham, really stretching across portions of North Georgia. All areas that we're concerned about, we're paying attention to, because that's going to be additional rain. You get the ground wet, and it's just going to continue to rain. When you get leaves like this, you get late in the year, those leaves fall, clog drains. There's certainly a lot to pay attention to. I do want to take you down to the south end, though, real quick. These are some of the areas you're seeing a lot of storm tracks, some fairly strong weather about to run into the LaGrange area. So if you are south of the city, and this is, again, all down along where we're under the tornado watch until 7 p.m., we do see some stronger weather lifting its way, moving up towards Cannonville in 4 minutes, Hillier in 10 minutes. Not a real quick moving storm, but we are continuing to watch this cell lift its way up. Langdale, another spot, and then this final storm track lifting to the north and to the east as well, moving towards Pine Mountain. I'll clear those off for you. Let me put the Barron button on. This is a button that tracks just the severity, the strength of these storms. It's something we look at when we want to see, well, are any of these storms potentially severe? And I could tell just by the density, just by the intensity there in that LaGrange area, that this is an area that we're concerned about right now, where it is a little bit stronger of a storm right there. Again, this is not a tornado, but it's within the tornado watch. The temperatures in LaGrange today ran up to 90 degrees, so we can't be surprised if, or excuse me, did I say 90? Excuse me, 80 degrees. That is a good 20 degrees warmer than some portions of North Georgia. So that gave it a little extra fuel, and that is why you're seeing some of these spots as a tornado watch, and you get a little bit more to the north. Just not enough heating there, not enough fuel, not enough energy that could eventually spawn what could be some severe weather. But we do still have our Barron button turned on. This has been pretty consistent. We have this one little spot there you see getting up into the Cherokee, Bartow County, just getting to the north, that's been moving through those counties. That continues to maybe have a little bit of hail, maybe suspended well up into the air. but that's another cell that's really been packing a pretty strong little punch there. Continuing to pay attention. And then you get the one even to the little bit south of it. That little cell, likely some hail suspended up above. Is it falling? Maybe not, but it is very heavy rain, a very strong little storm there. Winds out in front of this are going to be strong as it moves over towards Lathamtown, as this is a strong line of showers continuing to fall. I would like to take you back to the metro area, because as we continue to discuss the storms that we're seeing, we're continuing to watch this whole system get closer and closer to metro Atlanta. You see pretty consistently the movement of the storm lifting to the north and to the east. So there can be a little bit of training. Once you start to get rained on, you're going to keep getting rained on for a little while. But here's what it looks like right now, and just in the last couple of minutes we've seen a little bit more rain work itself into metro Atlanta. Six Flags out in that area, about to see some of these heavier storms sweep on into the area here within the next couple of minutes. I know that we're going to see rush hour happening before too much longer. It is going to be an absolute mess out there. If you have any storm reports as this begins to move into your area, please feel free to include them in the comments section, or tweet the storm team, or tweet myself, Adam K, Fox 5, or reach out to me on Facebook, Adam Klotz, Fox 5. I would love to see those photos and share them and make sure everyone is safe here on this Wednesday night. Of course, I will continue to update you as we proceed here into the evening, but for now I'm going to take a little break. Thanks again for joining us. Hey folks, Adam Klotz here in the Fox 5 newsroom, continuing to track this line of storms causing a problem, really stretching all the way from Tennessee down to the Gulf Coast. A line of very heavy rain, the concern strong winds, at time lightning, and that is now the biggest story. This is just coming across our service as there's been a storm report of a person struck by lightning in the Villa Rica area getting outside of Dallas. And that was actually one of these storm cells. If you've been joining us for a while, it's right along that line of storms that we've seen some of the most intense storms popping up. I can bring you in on that here in the last half an hour to 45 minutes. It's been this line. Now currently you see the lightning. We do not have any lightning strikes out there now. We've seen as many as 20 per 10 minutes, which isn't a lot. But they've been a lot of positive strikes, and if you've been joining us here for the last little bit, you know the positive strikes are actually usually the ones that cause the problems, where you'll hit houses or hit trees. In this case, it does appear that someone was injured. No more information on that, but that was in the Villa Rica area. Taking you back off towards the east, Metro Atlanta now beginning to see more and more rain. The heaviest rain, the strongest storms at this point are moving east-northeast, really along I-85 to I-20. Areas between Atlanta to Douglasville and Noonan will start to be affected in the next 30 to 45 minutes. In the next 30 to 45 minutes, some of those major areas, the major metropolitan areas, will start to see more and more of this rain as it moves in. In this current view, we don't currently have any lightning strikes, but we are continuing to see lightning, very strong winds out in front of this line of storms. We are also continuing to deal with this rain rates that are very strong. I'm going to put on the 24-hour rain totals. Again, the light blues, that's not as much rain, but we're still waiting on this heavy stuff here in Metro Atlanta. But if I back you out a bit, right along these boundaries, we've seen good amounts of rain stretching up into Floyd County and then back into portions of Alabama, a couple of inches of rain. I expect by the time this all moves through here in the next 30, 45 minutes through Metro Atlanta, we will have seen a couple inches of rain. You knock down a couple tree branches, the leaves are already dead, it clogs the drainage. It doesn't take a whole lot for there to be standing water on the roadways this time of year, and I do think that's going to be something we're concerned about. That's why we have a flood watch, a flash flood watch in place until tomorrow morning because of any additional rain that continues to move on through the area. Now, if you are just joining us on our YouTube channel, I would like to go ahead and encourage you to ask any questions you have about tonight's forecast. We'd be happy to have them. I'll be happy to answer them as we continue on. You should pay attention if you're just joining us here on the south side of the city. We have seen a tornado watch added here just within the last couple of hours. That is, again, on the south side of the city. Let me get back to our reflectivity. On the south side of the city, we're seeing from LaGrange over to Thomaston, over to Forsyth and Macon, all a huge area where there's a tornado watch in place. And actually, there's some very strong thunderstorms that just moved through the LaGrange area, through Pine Mountain, continuing to move off to the north and to the east. This has been a concern because the temperatures have been much warmer on the south side of the metro area than they were on the north side. Extreme North Georgia into the North Georgia mountains, at some places warming only into the 60, 62 degree range. LaGrange today topped off into the lower 80s. It takes that kind of fuel to eventually get these storms going enough that you can get the instability needed for quick lifting and then eventually getting the type of storms that you see. But again, taking you back towards the metro area, what you're seeing as of right now is this line of storms, the heaviest rain beginning to get closer and closer and really beginning to approach the area. The Villa Rica area is a place where we've seen some pretty strong rain here throughout the course of the day. I can put a storm track on some of these and get an idea of where these are moving. This is, again, a line where we've seen some of the heavier rain. Douglasville here in 2 minutes. Lithia Springs still 11 minutes out. Austell arriving there in 14 minutes as rain is sweeping that direction. Clearing this for you, I want to take you back down a little bit more to the south because that is another area where we were just looking at some really strong storms. Let's put a track on some of these down into the Noonan area. That's a spot where we're looking at, see that bowing right along that line, Noonan down to St. Mark's. That is a strong leading edge, very heavy rain, strong winds. It hasn't reached severe criteria, but nonetheless, that's going to cause a problem if you're out driving, if you're heading out. This is moving into Noonan in 3 minutes. The real strongest parts moving into Noonan in 3 minutes, West Noonan here in only 2 minutes, and then Gloverton on the other side of Noonan in only 3 minutes. So this is lifting on through that area. Expect to really feel some very strong rain, some heavy rain on your windowsills here within the next couple of minutes as we're looking at what truly, along 85, truly is the strongest rain right now all on the south side of the city. Still plenty of rain on the north side of the city, but you can tell with this bowing that this is some of the strongest showers that are sweeping that direction for the time being. I'll back you back out with looking in at the metro area, paying attention to where we've seen some of the heaviest rain. Again, at this point, really getting over towards 400, you're beginning to see some of this rain, but all the heavier rain, this is a good line. But the real nasty stuff at this point, south of I-20, we are seeing rain fill in. Excuse me, rain filling in more and more into the metro area, moving into downtown. And again, just to update you, we're sitting about 20 to 25 minutes away from the strongest rain moving into the metro area. Question here is, a friend asked me, when will storms move into Bartow County? Actually, some of the heavier rain already have moving through Bartow County, continuing to move at this point off through portions of North Georgia, south of I-20. That's the big concern right now. That's what we're paying the most attention to. We are going to continue to track this line of storms as it moves on through the area here throughout the next couple of hours. Of course, David Chanley will be on tonight at 5 p.m. He and Jeff Hill will be getting you through these storms as well on Fox 5 News. Stay tuned here online and on your television, and we'll keep you up to date. You're looking at the corner of 285 and Roswell Road. Adam Klotz here in the Fox 5 newsroom as we're continuing to track rain sweeping across portions of North Georgia. Obviously there, taking you up towards the Roswell area. On our map you can see some of the heavier rain beginning to approach Roswell, Alpharetta, beginning to creep towards Atlanta and Decatur as well, getting Metro Atlanta involved. Now still the heavier rain back off along I-20, Villa Rica included, and it was actually in the Villa Rica area there just within the last hour that we've seen storms moving on through, a little bit of thunder and lightning. You see right there, lightning strikes total, just 2 in the last 10 minutes. It does not take a whole lot of lightning for some problems to begin to occur, because we have gotten reports, local storm report of a person struck by lightning in Meadow Lark. And that's in the Villa Rica area. It's right along that leading edge of storm, so you do want to be careful with this one. Very heavy rain, winds gusting 25 to 35 miles an hour, and I would say that pretty consistently, even though yes, heavy rain, strong winds north of I-20, the more severe weather at this point is running along south of I-20 from Villa Rica along I-20 to Covington and then south. I'm going to highlight some of those areas for you and take you back. You get into the Noonan area at this point, this little bow just outside of Noonan, and we're actually getting a little bit of rotation in the upper levels here at this point. Still not getting any sort of tornado warning, but we can look and see some of the characteristics of this spin and see what exactly it is that we're getting. So here we are taking a look at this is called our level 2 reflectivity. I'm going to take a look at the velocity of this. What we're looking at here are when greens and reds come sharply up against each other, that can denote at time a little bit of rotation. I'm not seeing anything that screams tornado at this point, but obviously we are getting a little bit of a spin with this system. Turning on our Barron button, and yeah, we could be seeing possibly a little bit of hail elevated as we're looking at very strong cell lifting through the Noonan area. We'll put a track on it and see where this is moving. Actually at this point just north of the Noonan area. It'll be in Palmetto here in just under 10 minutes, lifting itself actually up towards Metro Atlanta, so that's one we'll be paying attention to. We have another cell here just a little bit more to the south that'll be moving itself towards Lutherville here in 2 minutes, Elders Mill in 12 minutes. Maybe you're just joining us and you're noticing all the red on the very bottom there of the screen. Well, what that is a tornado watch. There is a tornado watch in effect here until the evening hours. I can back you out and we can take a look at that, including huge portions of central Georgia into South Georgia, stretching all the way down to the Gulf Coast, where we have had tornadoes here over the course of the day. Some of the areas where a little bit more instability. It takes heat, it takes instability for a tornado to happen. The reason we have a tornado watch through LaGrange, moving over towards Forsyth, Macon, Thomaston, their temperatures were getting up close to 80 degrees today, in some cases the lower 80s. That's enough instability. A little bit warmer if you get back, or a little bit cooler, excuse me, if you head a little bit to the north, getting into Metro Atlanta and the North Georgia mountains. We are going to switch back over to our reflectivity. It's the more common radar image that you're used to seeing. Is beginning to see some of that heavier rain approach Metro Atlanta, Alpharetta, Roswell, sneaking in that direction. Again, Villa Rica, an area where they've seen some lightning a little while ago, a lightning struck a resident there, currently injured. That's all the information we have on that. Noonan, some of the stronger storms moving through that area. Rain continuing to fall area-wide. What are the concerns? I can take a look at this one more time. We do have several watches. We've got warnings over the next 24 hours or so. We have advisories. We have all of it happening here locally, as we are under a slight risk of severe weather here today. Tornado watch, that was everything we just discussed there on the south end of the city. We also have a flash flood watch, and we have the wind advisory, those lasting here throughout the rest of the afternoon. We're getting a lot of spinning down here on the down into the Noonan area on the south side of the metro area. We're going to take it back down in on that. It's right along this bow, which we were looking at, strong winds out in front of this system. Let's put on the velocity again and see if we're seeing, again, not a lot, but again, you look at the greens and the reds to be pushed up right against each other. The problem with this particular image is it's right near Peachtree City. We're very close to where the radar is, If you get too close, it can become distorted a little bit. That might be what's happening here, but that is a very strong line of rain kind of wrapping around. You can see in that bowing motion. It's certainly something that we're paying attention to and going to be continuing to watch here as this moves this direction. And look at it, lifting itself towards Metro Atlanta, arriving here in the next 20 to 30 minutes. We will be paying very close attention to that. I'm going to take a quick break. I will be back in about 5 minutes. Hey folks, Adam Klotz here, continuing to track a line of thunderstorms sweeping through metro Atlanta. New information actually just coming in. We have a tornado warning now on the ground just outside of the Noonan area. Tornado warning. Now that was that exact cell. If you've been paying attention to us for the last half an hour or so, we continue to see rotation spinning there just outside of the Noonan area. Continuing to see that rotation there. You guys are joining just as we are getting this information as well. So we are seeing that exact same cell with that rotation. We'd highlighted this a good 4 or 5 times here in the last 20 minutes as we've been seeing the spinning there on the top of this cell continuing to lift its way towards metro Atlanta. You are seeing that track, and I can put a track on this line of storms so we can get an idea of where this is moving and how it's been moving, the direction in which it's been moving, because it is lifting this direction to the north here fairly quickly as it moves. So here we're putting a track on this particular line, the severe storm moving towards Rico in 7 minutes. Again, radar indicating rotation on this leading edge line of storms that move through the Noonan area. Really, it's moving up 85, moving towards the metro area at this point. Leading edge of storms. This is outside of that tornado watch area, but it is in an area where we've seen significant heating over the course of the day, so we can't be surprised that this just fired off here in the last couple of minutes. Everything you're seeing in the red is the tornado watch area. Again, this red box highlighted just south of the metro area, that is the tornado warning that is currently in place. Sorry, I have some storm tracks there in your way. I'll delete those, but it's that rotation that you're seeing. I'll bring you back into it. Everything in that red box, that is the tornado warned area as that storm continues to lift itself towards College Park. Some of the towns in that area as we continue to lift, moving towards the Rico area, College Park on the south end of the perimeter, also a concern as we're beginning to move closer and closer into even stretching its way into Fulton and DeKalb County, heading that direction anyways. It's moved itself from Noonan, and I can actually put a for continuing coverage on this. Sorry guys, all this information coming in as I'm talking to you. David Chanley is now live on Fox 5 with all of this breaking information, taking it from here. Here's David.
Of a debris signature, meaning picking up some limbs and maybe even some shingles and some leaves and that sort of thing. So that's prompted certainly the tornado warning for this. Now we're putting a track on that as it's racing off there to the northeast. So in and around Palmetto in the next 6 minutes, the storm's coming your way. Fairburn in 17 minutes, Union City in 21 in Tell, and Stonewall in the next 22 minutes. If you're listening to me in those communities, time now to go to the interior room of your house. And if you have a basement, that's the best place, but someplace away from windows and doors. And this is a small, compact storm. It's not affecting a large portion of Coweta County and Fulton and Tyrone. So if you have your weather radio, if you have your Fox 5 Storm Team app and the alerts come over there, you got to make sure you know where you are in relation to this storm. So this is in South Fulton County. Does not include downtown Atlanta or points to the north, but it does include the area in and around Palmetto, Fairburn, and Tyrone. Now, this line right there is I-85. Now, we've been watching these storms now. This has been a pretty good line roll in from Alabama. And with wind with this, we've seen winds probably up around 30 and 40 miles an hour. What Jeff and I were looking at earlier is a little bit of a hitch or a kink, if you will, in the reflectivity of the rain that was coming down. Jeff's now gone to the velocity mode right now. Rotation down there in and around Palmetto, but I'm not seeing anything right now that really jumps out at me. We're looking for the green that you see here would be going toward the radar site and the red going away. And what you want to look for is what we call a little bit of a couplet where the green and the red come together. But haven't seen that. We saw a little bit of that aloft earlier this afternoon, but it hadn't been translated down to the ground. Now, we are dealing with a tremendous amount of shear in the atmosphere. We knew that was going to happen. We just didn't think we'd have enough instability to kind of fire up something like this. But this is a very, very short-lived. And in fact, it's probably already dissipated, but we're still going to monitor and watch it for you right now outside of Palmetto, south of Fairburn right now. And you can see that this warning now is going to be in effect until 5:15 this evening. The National Weather Service pulling the trigger on the possibility of a debris signature with that, meaning that something was gathered and then alofted, and it looked different than what you would see on the reflectivity mode of the radar. So that prompted the warning. You notice this now as you see up here towards Campbellton. Notice how we got a little bit of what we call an S or a curve or a kink in this. So we've got probably some inbound winds going on right here, and then you've got some winds coming in around this direction, and it's kind of pushing the cell or the rain this direction, and therefore you're showing up some rotation there outside of Palmetto there in South Fulton County. So this would be tremendous amount of rain right here, probably with some gusty winds going on, no doubt, between Campbellton and Fairplay. But it's this down at the bottom down here of that kink. Now you can see see how that goes from that green, and then it goes into the red and the purple very, very quickly. Let's see if we can zoom into that area right there, Jeff, just to the north of Palmetto. See some more locations, let folks exactly know what's happening. Right, so there is Fairburn. Here's Palmetto. So see how that goes from that green. Look at the purple right now. Probably tremendous amount of rain in and around that right now, coming down pretty good. And then you look at this little bit of a notch right here as the wind's going this direction, and it comes back around this way. And we'll see if we got any streets down here, if we can plot what this highway is right here in South Fulton County, coming down out of the airport way, perhaps. Again, this is to the west of I-85 in South Fulton County. The possibility of a tornado, a rotating cloud coming out of a thunderstorm, out of this squall line that we've seen. And you can see the name of that road right there is, well, there's North Rivertown Road. So that's coming your way there in South Fulton County. Can't quite make out what that Mill Road is there in South. There you go, in Jenkins Road, in and around South Fulton County and Palmetto right now. Here comes some possibility of some damaging wind your way. We've seen winds kind of pick up 30, 40 miles an hour. No reports of a whole lot of damage. Up in Cherokee County, Pickens County, we did have some power outages, but this is the strongest storm that we've seen so far today, as it's barreling off to the northeast about 45 miles an hour. So this is the storm that prompted the tornado warning right now for portions of Coweta, South Fulton, and Fayette. But right now it's kind of South Fulton that's really under the gun, that would be concerned about seeing the possibility of any damage right there. So Jeff Hill driving the Fox 5 Live Viper. If we can kind of pull that out just a little bit. What road is that? It's a Cochran Mill Road. Yeah, you're under the gun right now, no doubt. If you're listening to me and know where that street is, you need to be in your tornado safety place right now. We're talking about the basement, interior room of a home, away from windows and doors, certainly. And you can see making out the Cochran Mill Road there in South Fulton County. Let's pull this out a little bit and give folks just a little bit more of a bearing. There's Palmetto, there's Rico right now, and Fairplay. So Fairplay, you're in the clear right now. It's kind of past Palmetto, and this is I-85 right there, that line. There's Fairburn, so it's west of I-85. We just put a storm track on that, and yes, so we're looking at going off to the north-northeast. Pretty good clip at 54 miles an hour. Our Viper Tornado Index, we put that on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being a likelihood of a tornado, 1 being obviously the lowest, and that's at 6.3, so that's fairly significant, I would certainly say. Rolling into Rivertown now in the next 2 minutes, Cedar Grove in 4, Campbellton in 6, Lithia Springs in 14 minutes as it holds together. Austell coming your way in 16 minutes in and around the Six Flags area as well. So it's kind of lifting up to the northeast. So there it is, and running into Campbellton now in the next 6 minutes. So the tornado warning, actually, you can see the polygon here, oddly enough, does not include Campbellton. We'll see if they're going to adjust that from the National Weather Service. It's kind of more off here towards Fairburn. Now, the tornado warnings exist out here in Fayette County, northern Fayette County. I don't think you're too concerned with a possible tornado, but I don't like the way that looks right there as far as the bowing of the echo. The strong, damaging winds up to probably 60, 70 miles an hour, certainly possible, making its way outside of Fayetteville towards Riverdale. So Jeff now has on the velocity mode of this, and you can see the area. See if we got a couplet in here. Jeff, we're looking at these winds here are coming right toward the radar. Let's query this about right there. Got a little bit of a couplet now north of Roosevelt Highway there in South Fulton County to see if it tells us that's coming toward the radar at 35 miles an hour. So this is coming this way, and then you got the reds going back away from the radar site. And so there you go. That's not very impressive, honestly, but there's still something. There's something rotating there outside of Roosevelt Highway, and there's south the Rivertown Road. There's the city of Fairburn. So now this has left Palmetto, but the Weather Service did talk about the possibility of some debris signature being seen with this system, and I'm sure that's why they pulled the trigger on the tornado warning. When you start seeing things on the radar that not indicative of rain, there's something else going on. So something has rotated and lifted up some pieces of shingle or leaves and twigs and that sort of thing. So let's show you a wider picture right now. You can see that Metro Atlanta now is about to get really wet with some wind. This line now extending from Dahlonega right on through portions of Cherokee County into Douglas County and then down on the south side. This probably some gusty winds and torrential rain with this. We've had the flooding issues up here, flood warnings up in northwest Georgia, where we've seen in excess of 2 inches of rain in very short order. And so you see how this line stretches from Blairsville and Dahlonega all the way down through the heart of the city. Now, the counties she's shaded down there in the red, that is a tornado watch that was issued earlier for the possibility of tornadoes until 9 o'clock this evening. Did not include Metro Atlanta, and you can see it's Troup County, Meriwether County, Pike, Lamar, and Upson for our viewing audience, and then points to the south. Oddly enough, the tornado warning that's been issued now right now is north of the watch area, so that's why when these watches get issued, you really need to pay attention, because weather doesn't always go according to plan, and so that tornado warning was issued outside of the watch area. But as if they thought they saw some debris signature with that, that certainly prompted the warning. And as I said, Jeff and I were looking at that cell probably about a half hour ago, and we saw a little bit of rotation, but we've seen rotation through the course of the afternoon, but it's been aloft. It's been well above the ground and not translating down to the surface. So this one evidently has found its way down to the surface with the possibility of a small tornado. And we pointed out earlier that this type of storm or this type of tornado is not the supercell variety that you would find in the spring or sometimes in the fall and the winter that can do just a devastating, catastrophic type damage. These are spin up. They can have winds up to 70, 80 miles an hour, but obviously that can bring down some trees and power lines, do some minor damage to homes, and so we'll keep an eye on that. We've got the news crews out there kind of canvassing the area, just checking out to see what is exactly happening there. So let's zoom back into our storm here, Jeff, that's down in South Fulton County. Those of you just joining us, this is Fox 5 News at 5 o'clock, and we came on the air about 15 minutes ago with the possibility of a tornado and the tornado warning prompted by the National Weather Service. And now the warning is canceled for Coweta and Fayette, like we thought that it might be because the storm's not in Fayette County and it's left Coweta County. So it's just now in South Fulton between Palmetto and Fairburn right now. Although Campbellton now is probably getting some very heavy rain. We also had the possibility of somebody hurt by lightning earlier this afternoon over in Paulding County outside of Dallas along Villa Rica Highway. So we've had some very active weather with this. I think most of us are just going to see some very heavy rain and some gusty winds with this. This is not by any stretch a huge tornado outbreak. We'll keep an eye on the line of storms, but it's this storm that has prompted the warning. And as we dive down in with Fox 5 Live Viper, not seeing anything that is certainly of a concern of a tornado still on the ground there in South Fulton County. So here you go. There's the outskirts of Fairburn. This is I-85 right there, so we're kind of west and northwest of that. I do anticipate that some real heavy rainfall and some gusty wind. You see the real tight, what we call reflectivity gradient there. See how it goes from that green to the dark red in short order right now. So it's really some gusty winds. As this storm now not only out ahead of it with the wind, but the rainfall bringing down some of those mid-level winds down to the surface as the rain-cooled air makes its way from the cloud into the ground. And then we started dealing with some rotation with this storm as it rolled out of northern Coweta County. So the active tornado warning is now just in effect for South Fulton County. So if you're listening to my voice, you maybe have one of the phones or the Fox 5 Storm Team app and then Fulton County popped up. If you're up in Roswell and Alpharetta, this storm is not your concern right now, but you do have some pretty intense rain and wind coming your way here in short order. So get your bearings. There's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport and College Park. There's 285, 85, and then this is the leaning edge of the cell now that we've kind of lost a lot of its characteristics of the possibility of a tornado. Let's widen that back out just a little bit and see if we still have that hitch or that bow in it. You can see as it rolls down here, look at the line here out of Mableton and Cobb County, and then kind of circling a little bit there in South Fulton County, and then it S's back towards Fayette County right now. Boy, that's probably some pretty good gusty winds rolling just north of Fayetteville right now, but not included obviously in the tornado warning. It's just for Coweta County as we speak. So as we drill down into this area, trying to find any sort of a inflow or any sort of a signature that would tell me that the tornado is still there, or any of the rotation still there. I'm sure the gusty winds are there and the heavy rain in South Fulton County, but that scene's being repeated all across now Metro Atlanta and will be for the next several hours. So Jeff's now put an updated storm track on this. So here it comes into Fairburn in the next 10 minutes, Union City in 14, Stonewall in 14, Red Oak in 20, 23 in the Ben Hill community, making its way as it kind of holds together into more of downtown Atlanta or inside the perimeter anyway. So there's Fairburn right there, Campbellton, and that's the wedge of the area under the tornado warning right now. Been expired or let go for Coweta County and for Fayette County, so that's good news there. Let's kind of drill down right here, Jeff, right where we're getting a little bit of a notch. A little bit, then if we can pop it on the velocity to see if we got any sort of the bright green right there. There's probably some pretty good wind right there, and then this is not showing me a whole lot down here to the southeast of that. So as we query that, yeah, 38 mile an hour, that'd be pretty, gusty, probably a little higher as it makes its way down to the surface perhaps as the storm is rolling that direction. It's leaving Fairburn right now, but it's more to the north. They're just knocking on the door there. The west end of 285 is right there, and that's where the junction of 85. And of course, there's the airport right now. So what we're dealing with, in case you're just joining us, the possibility of a tornado now in South Fulton County. We have a long line of heavy rain with the possibility of damaging winds from North Georgia all the way down to the south side. Now, I will say that it's more unstable south of I-20. The air more stable to the north. We dealt with an east wind most of the day, and temperatures only in the low 60s, but it did get warmer down to the south. Oddly enough, though, as we were looking at the atmosphere, the higher wind aloft was up here to the north, where we had probably the possibility of some more wind shear. We just didn't have enough instability to bring that back down to the surface. Different story on the south side. But right now, we're not seeing a whole lot other than just some heavy rain in South Fulton County all the way down into Meriwether County and Pike County right now. That's where a tornado watch is in effect until 9 o'clock. But the warning has been kind of whittled away to right in South Fulton County. And you can see our temperature right here is at 70. It's cooled now. The rain-cooled air out in Carrollton at 64. Certainly, you folks on the back side of this system, any sort of severe weather threat is over with. The atmosphere has kind of been raked over pretty good, even though the front's coming. You still get some more rain up in northwest Georgia, where they've had enough rain that they have some flooding issues there in the northwestern counties from, say, Buchanan, Cedartown, Rome, over towards Calhoun, where you're dealing with a tremendous amount of runoff and creeks and streams coming up out of their banks. We popped the winds on here right now, and not so impressive, but what I can show you, though, look how it's out of the east, southeast, and southeast on this side of the system. So this is feeding it, and then you start seeing on the backside, there's south, southwest, and it is south, southeast in Rome, but I expect it to become more northwesterly and westerly through the course of the late afternoon, first part of the evening now, as the front finally makes its way into our region. But right now, this active tornado warning still going on down here in South Fulton County as this line now reaches more towards the 285-85 junction just to the west of Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. So just put the storm track on that, give you the update on it. Here we go, moving into Red Oak in 4 minutes, Ben Hill in 7, College Park in 11, and rolling right across the airport in the next 11 minutes, and into East Point in 13 minutes. So you can see that yeah, there it is. Pretty intense wind, probably. Look how that the gradient's real tight going all the way down in portions of Clayton County right now, but that does not include the area that's under the tornado warning. So the warning was in effect until 5:15, and we've taken it away from Coweta County and Fayette County as the storm moved out of that area. So I would think right now that if you're in north of Fairburn, maybe just the outskirts of 285 and 85, you're listening to me, that's the area that I would be concerned about with the possibility of rotation, but we haven't seen anything with the last couple scans that we had. We'll see if there's information coming out of the National Weather Service and see if they've decided to weather update. Have we seen anything in the chat room there, Jeff, as far as that goes? In town right now, if you're at work, probably best to just kind of maybe hang out for a little bit more, because the rain is really going to be torrential, especially west and northwest of the city, and then moving across downtown. We've seen rainfall rates 1 to 2 inches in short order, and you know, with the leaves on the ground blocking the storm drains, there's going to be some flooding on many of the area roads, as well as the gusty winds bringing down more leaves, and then the gusty wind with the saturated soil and the possibility of some trees coming down, and we've seen that up in Cherokee and Pickens County with some power outages. But right now, this heaviest band now is about to roll right inside the perimeter and into downtown. I don't think that the tornado warning is going to be extended into further reaches of Fulton County, and at least not with what I've seen right now. What's that, Jeff?
Starting to weaken.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we've seen that weakening right now, and I tell you what, as we monitor that and take a look at that, do we have any other coverage that we want to let's see, take a look at? No, all right. So, Jeff, if we can just drill down one more time. Let's do this for our viewers. Take this. See, it's the cell is actually kind of running out of where the warning polygon is right now, and we haven't. You got a little bit of a notch right there, but as far as velocity on this, you can see there's Hartsfield, Jackson, College Park, and East Point. Points off to the east, coming inside the perimeter right now. So here it comes, College Park in the next 6 minutes. Some real intense rain and wind right across the airport now in 7 minutes, and 11 minutes into Hapeville, 11 minutes there into Fort Mac. So moving into obviously a heavy populated area. We will continue to keep you updated with this storm. Jeff and I will be tracking that, kind of diving down into it. In the meantime, I know we've got news crews scattered about talking about the possibility of trees down and traffic issues. Let's go back one more view, kind of a broader picture there, Jeff, and we can show how it's a jagged line at best, but boy, where you see the higher reflectivity of the red, that's some very intense rain from Blairsville, outside of Gainesville, now moving into downtown, and then down on the south side, and those counties shaded there in the red, the tornado watch until 9 o'clock, but I'm sure that that's going to be lifted shortly once these storms pass and the air becomes much more stable, although the rain is going to continue into the early evening hours across North Georgia. Let me take a look at the Georgia Power camera as we speak. This is from our view downtown, and there you go. That's the connector both ways, northbound with the bright lights, and the tail lights there are southbound. And this scene is going to be repeated all across Metro Atlanta, there's no doubt, as the light rain has fallen mainly on the east side, but the heavier rain there on the north side across the region. And as we take a look at that camera, there it is. Yeah, you can see it's just water piling up, no doubt. Let me take you forward in time as we continue to track this now. You can see that we've anticipate more rain moving into the Metro Atlanta area hour by hour. Yeah, in the next 5, 6 o'clock, yes, there it comes, more rain, and it's heavy, but the heavy band now moves east of the city in the next hour or so, stretching all the way down into the south side. The rain tapers off, but not gone for good across portions of north and northwest Atlanta. By the time we get into 7 o'clock, pushing toward the Athens area and Eatonton. Again, I'm not too concerned up in northeast Georgia for the possibility of severe storms. That would be well down to the south where we haven't seen anything right now. And as we get into the early part of the evening, say 8, 9 o'clock, we're still looking at some rain. So some minor flooding issues would be a concern, certainly, before things start tapering off. Once we get into about 2 o'clock in the morning, still some showers down south east of the city, but notice the clearing trend back up there to the northwest. So this is not going to be an all-night event by any stretch. The threat of heavy rain and wind is going to last for the next couple of hours, and then it's going to move on out. This is the tornado watch that I was talking about that's down here south of the city. includes our 5 counties of from LaGrange all the way over to Upson County and the city of Thomaston. So back to a Fox 5 Live Viper right now, and the tornado warning that we had was right down here south of the city, now in South Fulton County. But that storm now looks like it has run out of the polygon, and so I'm not too concerned that they have now extended that warning. And if they will, we're going to be back with you, obviously. But there's the warning right now. 3 lightning strikes in this view, so there hadn't been a lot, although we understand there might be an injury over towards Villa Rica Highway in Dallas due to a lightning strike on a home. And here comes the heavy rain and wind into metro Atlanta. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Sinead and Tom sitting at the news desk. And gang, if we have obviously any more additional warnings, we're going to bring them to you immediately, and we'll be back with the forecast and continue to track this rain and wind event across North Georgia in just a few minutes.
All right, David, certainly a lot of ground to cover tonight. We have been tracking a severe weather threat since the top of the hour, and right now, weather is the biggest story here in metro Atlanta.
To be sure, apart from severe weather, heavy rains and heavy winds also impacting us tonight. Let's take some live pictures around town. We have a live picture at the downtown connector that David just showed you. You can see major backups, things moving very slowly at this hour. The wet roads making for quite the messy commute.
Boy, what a mess there. The rain has been steady here at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport tonight, but we just checked with airport officials who say that as of right now, there are no flight delays because of the weather.
And we also have a live look where you can see a clear picture of just how thick the rain and the clouds are tonight. Very low visibility in areas.
All right, Fox 5 has team coverage tonight with Storm Team Chief Meteorologist David Chanley and Jeff Hill standing by in the Weather Center. We begin with David in the Storm Center, tracking the rain and that severe weather moving eastbound. David?
Yeah, that's what Jeff and I have been looking at through the course of the afternoon. He was in here early this morning. We were with you right after lunch along with Adam Klotz. And yeah, we saw this intense line kind of form and roll in out of Alabama across the state line the first part of the afternoon. The threat of severe weather, and it's still fairly minimal, honestly. So this is a big disruptive weather event. It's not a huge severe weather outbreak by any stretch. However, I do anticipate some pretty heavy rainfall. We've seen that. Some gusty winds. We've seen that. And some of these thunderstorms had the possibility of a little bit of rotation. We were looking at some shear in the atmosphere, and that came to be the one storm that was down in Coweta County that moved into Fulton County. But now that warning has since expired, so good news there. So let's take a look at Fox 5 Live Viper and kind of give you a tour of who's getting what right now as we move up into extreme North Georgia from Blairsville right on into White County, Lumpkin County into Dawson County. Some pretty heavy rainfall right now, and the onset of the rain, you're probably going to get some gusty wind, probably up around 30-35 miles an hour, I would say, but that's down below severe limits. Still, it's significant, and with these saturated soils that we've seen, I wouldn't be shocked to have some trees coming down, but I don't think anything too devastating. But if it's your home and your tree and your power line, then it is devastating to you. I get that, but nothing that's going to be huge and widespread. So here we go down through Cumming and Georgia 400 into Roswell, North Fulton County. Yeah, you're getting drenched right now, probably some gusty winds as well. All this is moving off to the northeast at about 40 miles an hour, so it's a pretty good clip, but there's a lot of it to go through, and you're going to see rainfall rates generally about 1 to 2 inches in that short order. So as we move down into town, you can see there around the Cobb Cloverleaf and Sandy Springs, yes, there is some more wet weather there, some more heavy rain, perhaps a rumble of thunder, but we hadn't seen a whole lot of thunderstorms with this. You can see with this lightning tracker, this total view right here would have 6 lightning strikes. So this was the bowing, the little notch, the little glitch in this line that we've seen there that prompted the spin up of the possibility of a tornado that was down in just north of Noonan in Coweta County, then moving across South Fulton County. No more active warning right now, but boy, look at this. I bet that is some gusty wind just to the outskirts of East Point right now. Could see winds up to 40 and 50 miles an hour, certainly, as this now tracks off to the northeast. And you see the heavy rain down here towards Riverdale as well. Riverdale and Morrow, East Point getting just drenched right now. Then you can see some outside of Mableton as well there in Cobb County. So heavy rain, gusty winds, couple lightning strikes. That's what we've seen and will continue to see as we make our way into the early evening. And there you go, another sharp gradient between the greens and the reds right there with this. And so just to the outskirts of Morrow, it'd be interesting to see what the wind gust is going to be right across Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in just a little bit. And then the line goes all the way down through Fayette County and then knocking on the door of Spalding County and Henry County as we speak. And you can see with that view that we had just a moment ago, Jeff showed you, just a handful of lightning strikes from Jonesboro all the way down into Greenville, Zebulon and Pike County, Barnesville. Here's some, it's raining now, but some heavy rain is coming your way. So that's kind of what we've seen through the course of the afternoon. And that's what we're going to see into the evening. Now, we're holding on to the tornado watch issued by the National Weather Service. Storm Prediction Center saw this, did it this afternoon. Troup County, that's Meriwether, Pike, Lamar, Thomaston, does include Monroe County and over towards Macon, but that is well south of Metro Atlanta, and I really expect this to be lifted here probably in the next couple hour or two, because the threat, this line now has moved away from LaGrange and is going to be moving through Thomaston. And I really think once that happens that the threat of a tornado is greatly diminished. It's not all that great right now, I don't think, but it's going to be diminished with the passage of that line. So the real concern is going to be with the heavy rain, possibility of flooding, and also the gusty winds with this system as it now is knocking on the door of downtown. In fact, take a look at our tower cam shot here. I can show you this right quick. Oh, not that one. Well, we're looking at, there you go. There you've got some pretty good rain running right into town right now. The tower cam was kind of fogged in, the one that I was looking at off my shoulder right now. So heaviest rain down in Fayette County as we speak. And as we tracked it for you earlier today, a couple minutes ago, all this will be on out of here in the next couple of hours. So this is not something that's going to have a long duration. And the rain, yeah, it's heavy now, and it's going to be heavy for the next hour or so, but it's not going to linger into tonight and early tomorrow morning. And in fact, the forecast looks pretty quiet. That's the view I'm looking at, right, Georgia Power camera downtown on the connector. And you can see there goes southbound, this coming northbound, and it's honestly, it kind of looks like that on any night, but you know that it's going to be even worse tonight. You start throwing a lot of rain on the roadways. So we'll be here in the Fox 5 Storm Center to monitor any additional warnings that come your way. And we're going to have the forecast that carries you not only through tonight, but on into the weekend. So you stay right there with us.
Okay, David, we certainly appreciate it. We did just get an update from Georgia Power, who are saying that 4,000 people without power at this point. Now, let's get another look at the wet situation on our roads. We got video taken from the Fox 5 Storm Chaser. This just a short time ago, and you can see the rain falling in areas of Cobb and Cherokee counties. It's been heavy tonight. Let's take you to Fox 5's Doug Evans, who is in the Storm Chaser right now.
And Doug, we understand you're in Cobb County. What are you seeing out there right now?
That's right, Tom and Sinead. We're nice and dry inside the Storm Chaser, perhaps a little road weary, and any commuter is right now. Anyone out on the roadways outside the Storm Chaser, you can see the rain is falling. It's falling heavily here in Cobb County. We are actually on I-75 southbound, coming up on the Lockheed Dobbins exit there, exit 261. Traffic is heavy. There's a great deal of water on the roadway itself. Some areas of heavy ponding with this heavy rain that has moved in just the last half hour to 40 minutes ago. We haven't seen any winds associated with this as it moved through this afternoon and into Cobb County. That's the good news. So perhaps we won't see any downed trees just yet, as long as those winds remain calm, as they seem to be right now. We've certainly seen the temperature drop just a few degrees as well as soon as the rain came in. We were holding steady at about 70 degrees. I noticed that just in the last few minutes we're down to about 68 degrees. You can see that the traffic is heavy. A lot of people on the brakes as they maneuver their way home and into downtown Atlanta from this direction. The opposite direction is heading northbound. That's normally pretty tight this time of night, as David Chandler just alluded to a few minutes ago, but you add some water and let me tell you, it is a real mess out there right now. So the Fox 5 Storm Chaser is heading south on I-75. We'll keep you updated on the situation on the perimeter. coming up a little later. Back to you guys.
All right. Thanks very much, SkyFox Traffic. Definitely monitoring all of the roadways across the metro area. We'll have continual updates throughout the newscast. You can stay on top of the storm system with the Fox 5 Storm Team Weather app. It'll send alerts right to your phone and let you track the Fox 5 Live Viper in real time yourself. Download it from your Apple or your Android store.
Wow, listen to that. This is cell phone video of a deadly raid in Paris overnight. 2 people were killed in this raid in Saint-Denis.
Hey folks, Adam Klotz here in the Fox 5 newsroom, continuing to track what now has been some severe weather stretching through portions of North Georgia, on and off. Huge line of storms sweeping across the entire state, now metro Atlanta. 5-10 minutes ago, we saw a tornado warning expire. No longer a tornado warning, but that complex of storms is now lifting into metro Atlanta. You are taking a look right now at metro Atlanta as that complex is now lifting in. It's not a tornado, but still a very strong line of storms. We've got some thunder and some lightning moving in as well. Very heavy rain, winds out in front of this, easily gusting up to 35-40 miles an hour. This is not a system that you want to be just sitting out in. Certainly you want to get indoors. Even though it's not tornadic, still it is a mess now sweeping through portions of the metro area. This is again a view of the metro area. If I back you out just a little bit, you can see it has been a big mess really across the entire region. It's this leading edge that has been the cause for the biggest concern. In most of the instability at this point, yes, it's storming everywhere, but most of the instability has been along I-20 and south of I-20. Everything you're seeing in the red from Forsyth to LaGrange, now some of this is covered up by our actual radar imagery, but that is all under a tornado watch until this evening. So the ingredients are there on the south side of the metro area that a tornado could spin up, and now a tornado has spun up. We've actually gotten a little bit of reports now, not a lot, but we have gotten some reports of some damage. In the Fairburn area, we have a tweet from the Fairburn Police Department that a structure fire was reported on West Campbellton Street, and a large limb is down on Tell Road, tree on the power lines, and that is causing power outages, causing obviously a structure fire there on West Campbellton Street. So we are beginning to get some of those notifications that a little bit of damage as that storm moved on through the area. Again, if you were paying attention, David Chanley took you through it, but that began in really South Fulton County, Coweta County on the south side of the city. That complex has now lifted itself into Metro Atlanta. It's no longer tornadic, but take a look right along that line. You get some of these deep pinks and purples. That's pretty powerful, very heavy rain falling in some of these areas. So if I look at the single site radar and I put on our rainfall rates, this is how much rain we've seen or how much rain we are seeing here currently. Well, we are getting some pretty heavy rain here so far. This is the rain rate. Those are areas where rain is falling very, very quickly. With the ground already saturated and you start to lose some leaves because we are in that fall time, we're also getting a whole lot of reports coming in of flooding. Now, the flooding is not limited to just this area. Let me bring you back a little bit so we can talk about flooding. Flooding has been a problem all along this main line of storms. Here is the 6-hour rainfall totals, but again, it's that leading edge where the rain is falling the quickest. So we'll go back to our original radar image. It's the leading edge there, everything in the red. That is where the rain is falling the quickest. And we've been getting reports in. Waze is a mapping application that people use to get directions if you don't have it. Well, reports have been coming in on Waze of flooding on Roswell Road, up in Powers Ferry Road. There's also reports of flooding coming in on the south side of the city as well. Actually, tons of reports flooding in at this point.
And Adam, I wanted to show you, looking live right now at our Georgia Power Cam. This is a live look at downtown Atlanta. You're looking at the heart of the connector right now and seeing just before it merges into Interstate 20, and a lot of slow-moving traffic. But you're seeing this picture get darker and darker. Some flashes of lightning. This is the same picture we saw move in just a few moments ago over our airport cameras. If you remember, we were streaming that just a few moments ago, and you're watching this camera now pick up a lot of the intense rain that's in the area. Traffic just a crawl in that. So if you're streaming along with this, be patient. Certainly give your relatives a chance to get home a little bit later today, because it's going to certainly be delayed today in this travel. But we're seeing more and more congestion on these cameras. We're seeing it even as we're standing here talking, it's getting darker and darker, and you'll see an occasional flash of lightning. By the way, let's take a look at another camera. This is I-75 northbound at the South 120 loop. A lens coated in rain there, and again a slow go both directions, I-75 northbound south at the 120 loop. As you were mentioning, some of these damage reports just starting to come in. Let's go back downtown, because we're starting to see some of the lightning activity pick up here again on the connector. This is a live look from the Georgia Power Building, and actually we just saw a flash there on our Georgia Department of Transportation cameras. So now we're starting to see a lot of the intensity, I guess if you'd say, or the stronger parts of these storms really in the heart of the city. Adam?
You're absolutely right. In the Fox 5 studios here in Metro Atlanta, I just saw a lightning bolt out of a window here, so we are getting nearer and nearer to that. Here's a look at the live Viper. Where is the storm as far as associated with downtown? It is right over downtown Metro Atlanta. This is the exact same cell, the same complex of storms that was just tornado warned a good 20 minutes ago. It's now lifted itself into portions of the metro area. It is not still tornadic. It's not still a tornado, but it continues to lift its way through, and this is a powerful cell, a powerful complex of storms. We do have a storm track on this particular line, so we can kind of time out where this is moving and when it's moving. Still about 6 minutes from Morningside, 9 minutes from Buckhead, and then in 13 minutes, we're getting on the north side of the metro area. We're running into the Brookhaven area, where everyone needs to be preparing for some very strong, heavy storms. Just in this one view, the lightning has ticked up a little bit. Just in this one view, we're looking at 16 total lightning strikes in the last couple of minutes. It's not unheard of. It's not a really high amount, but it is higher than we'd seen. So lightning continues to be an issue. We have had a lightning strike an individual in the Villa Rica area early this afternoon. So if you were thinking about heading outdoors, wait for this thing to pass. certainly take your time because there is lightning with this, very heavy rain, and it has shown a history of rotation. We've been doing the YouTube, the streaming broadcast here for several hours, and it's been this cell for hours. Before it ever turned into tornado, we saw it rotating, and we were looking at it and talking about it. So this is the cell that is now in Metro Atlanta, the same one that we've been tracking for hundreds of miles, lifting its way all the way from portions of southern Alabama all the way now up into the metro area, and continuing to spin.
And Adam, for those of you who are streaming along with us this afternoon live on YouTube, feel free to give us your damage reports from your neighborhood. If you see any fallen trees or anything creating a hazard, we'll be sure to pass that along to those of you who are streaming along with us this afternoon, as well as our entire team here at Fox 5. Let's give you an update of what our crews are learning about different damage reports around the area. Some of these Adam has been tracking live with the National Weather Service as well, but authorities in Fairburn report numerous trees down, causing a power outage around that city. There's also a report of a house fire on West Campbellton Street. Authorities in Paulding County reported around 4:30 one person was injured by lightning. We've been telling you about that. We're learning that that is near Meadowlark, and the rain began moving in the state shortly before 3 p.m., and we're seeing the heaviest of it now in Metro Atlanta. You can look at the live Georgia Power camera overlooking the connector. You know, it's easy to say that it's a snail's pace through there any time of day, and certainly when we have any type of weather like this, it's just an added complication. So certainly be patient. As you can see, the frequent lightning strikes there on your screen live here on Fox 5 Live. Georgia Power said less than 2,000 customers, though, are without power as of 5:30. We do have some major outages that they're talking about right now in Cedartown, Southwest Atlanta, Buckhead, Brookhaven, and Sandy Springs. There is a delay of about an hour reported right now at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, and we watched that storm move in here on the live stream. When we watched it really come over the tarmac, we saw the planes kind of stop there on the tarmac as an incredible made its way there. Even some thunder here at the Fox 5 studios as well. So the FAA reports that planes were held at the gate, and the incoming planes were also held as this storm passed. So that's a little bit about what's taking place right now at the airport. We'll go back to radar now, and Fox 5's Adam Klotz as he continues to kind of walk us through the radar picture and the intensity levels that we're seeing around the area.
Oh, Will, the information is just rolling in on this one. A couple of things I want to point out. Just in the last couple of moments, we have a new tweet from the Fairburn Police Department. That's an area where we saw some of the more severe weather already pass through. Tell Road from the Fairburn Police Department is now impassable with trees and power lines down. And if I can take you in, and this is actually really impressive, Georgia Tech. On the Georgia Tech campus, Georgia Tech recently tweeted that they measured a rain rate of 13 inches per hour. Now, obviously, this storm not going to sit still for 1 hour. So that does not mean we're going to get 13 inches of rain, but that is how heavy, how intense this rain is right as it moves through the metro area. And I take you into it, you get those deep, deep pinks and those deep purples and reds, and those are the areas where this storm is at its most intense, continuing to lift again to the north and to the east. We can't put a storm track on this exact rainfall that we're talking about, this very heavy rainfall, and where is it headed? It's moving pretty good. We're looking at 10 minutes to PDK, 11 minutes up to Chamblee, and at this point only 2 minutes away from Buckhead. So this continues to lift, and here at the Fox 5 studios, we still have those rumbles of thunder, that very heavy rain on our windowsills as well. And we have talked here in just the last 5 minutes about the lightning strikes. Those continue to tick up a little bit as well. Now a total of 20 lightning strikes in the last couple of minutes, only one positive. The positive lightning strikes are usually the most dangerous, but those continuing to sweep on through this metro area, continuing to really cause a lot of headaches out there, causing a real mess. Now, this is the leading edge. This is the worst. This leading edge will be the worst of all the rain, but it is not everything we're going to experience. I'll take just a quick moment to back you out and see, yes, it's still raining in portions of Alabama. So this is the initial line. It's going to saturate the ground, and then we're going to see any flooding. Those problems just become worse here for the next couple of hours as rain continues. We will clear off in the overnight hours, but this is a pretty big line of storms that are currently stretching all the way down from Tennessee all the way down to the Gulf Coast, another area where they've seen tornadoes here off and on throughout the course of the day.
Our live streaming coverage continues here on Fox 5. Will Nolly along with Adam Klotz here in the Fox 5 newsroom as we're tracking some intense line of storms as it makes its way through the metro area. We've kind of seen this unfold live on our cameras this afternoon, taking you to various points in the city. Let's go back downtown to the connector, and you can see just as we start talking right now, those lightning strikes in the background there kind of reflecting off the building. So that's a lot of what we've seen here this afternoon, and it's making its way through the heart of the metro area, now the connector specifically, and now Chamblee, Decatur, Loganville, it's moving your way. Certainly Sandy Springs, you're going to start to see more of this as well as we kind of move this on through. And Adam right now is kind of taking a look at some of the different lightning strikes. Is that what we're looking at here, or is this an intensity level?
We're actually looking at, Will, we do still have our lightning strike counter up, but we're still seeing, and then again, this is the cell that was tornado warned, now moving through metro Atlanta, getting over into DeKalb County, working towards Decatur. Not a tornado by any means, but still some broad circulation now rotating over portions of Decatur. Very broad in nature, but we are still seeing a little bit of spinning. This has been the cell. For hundreds of miles we've been watching it spin. It quickly turned into a tornado. It broke down, and now we're starting to see a little bit of spinning once again. So that's something we're going to have to continue to watch as we continue to watch the cell. That again, as it went through the area, we saw as much as 13 inches per hour. That was a report from a report from Georgia Tech saying that much rainfall that quickly. This is a pretty serious storm moving on through the area.
And more damage reports seem to be coming in too. I know you were just kind of looking over the information. One of the things that Adam is able to do, and we'll kind of give you a perspective of what he's doing right now, in addition to guiding you through on the radar. One of the other screens he has there is a direct connection to the National Weather Service. So he's able to look at the same information that the National Weather Service office gets, as well as emergency managers, as they begin to communicate about the emergency needs in our community. So the instant that a county or a city government near you reports a problem, possible damage or anything like that, this is the screen that it goes to. So Adam's able to track that in real time and pass that information along to you. So as we give you these storm reports, that's where they're coming from, and that shows you kind of how immediate that we're able to pass this information along to you. We continue our look now live at the connector. You can see the worst of this wave seems to have passed this particular location because we're getting our picture back. As a matter of fact, I think we can kind of even clear that screen for you there a little bit. And you can see traffic still, of course, at a snail's pace there this afternoon. But we're able to once again see the connector when just about 15 minutes ago we couldn't do that because the rain intensity was so in that area that we were not able to see that. Taking a look now, I-285 west at the 400. So this is the area that is now really kind of in the middle of a lot of what we've seen with the rain intensity. But traffic, not at a standstill in this area, still moving, and that's in and of itself a good thing this time of day. 285 west at the 400, and we again just see these frequent lightning strikes taking place on this high-definition camera that we have downtown looking the connector. Adam, we're going to send it back to you as you continue your tracks, and as we take a look back at Live Viper.
Yeah, we continue to track a live Viper here, Will, and what we're seeing still on the leading edge of this line of storms, an absolute mess. Really along all the leading edge here, Chamblee, down towards Decatur, down towards Stockbridge. Now I want to highlight the Decatur area especially. That is the exact complex of storms that just moved through portions of southern Fulton County, down in Coweta County, down in Fayette County. That had rotation, that was had a tornado warning. And that is now lifting through portions of Decatur, continuing to show just a little bit of spin. No longer a tornado, but this is really a powerful storm out there that could spin up into a tornado again. And if it does tighten its rotation, well, then you would want to certainly be aware and take cover. So this is one that you shouldn't even really roll the dice with, excuse me. A good idea just to get inside and wait for this particular cell to pass you by. Now, it's not the only cell we're paying attention to. There is a big line of storms stretching again. We haven't looked in a while, but this is a line stretching all the way from Tennessee down towards the Gulf Coast. Everything you're seeing in the red, and now most of that red covered by our radar imagery. But there is a tornado watch south of I-20, stretching really from LaGrange over towards Thomaston and over towards Forsyth and everywhere south. We continue to be under tornado watch here for the next couple of hours.
A reminder, this is always a good time to remind folks how powerful our Fox 5 Storm app can be in times like this. It's free to you. It's available in your Apple Store and your Google Play Store as well. Because the instant that a tornado warning was issued for our area, we did have that warning come across in real time on our Fox 5 Storm Team app. And also, you can stream along. So when we have severe weather like this, we're going to be streaming along our newscast and our special broadcast on that app. So it's all accessible in one place. Certainly a powerful tool to have. And these are the times it really comes in handy. And if you're on the road and need an instant resource like that, this is the time that comes in handy. Certainly the downtown connector showing the results of a difficult commute. Almost a standstill, it looks there inbound, if you can see that, as the lightning continues to flash downtown, and they're really kind of stopped, at least inbound on the connector here at the Georgia Power Building downtown is what we're looking at right there. Authorities in Fairburn report numerous trees down, causing a power outage around the city there. Also a report of a house fire on West Campbellton Street. Adam Klotz is continuing to monitor some of the damage reports that are coming into the National Weather Service. And Adam, I imagine that the information is still coming in.
Yeah, it is flowing in at this point. Just within the last couple of minutes, we're getting new local storm reports. These are oftentimes issued in by emergency managers from different counties, possibly tornado-downed trees in Fulton County there on the south end of Fulton County, obviously from the storm we had back at 5 p.m., so now 45 minutes ago, but we have seen trees down from that storm. We also have reports in extreme North Georgia, getting up in Gilmer County in the Ellijay area, where we have reports of trees down, power lines down, all because of this leading edge of storms that's sweeping all across the state. And then even here in metro Atlanta, we have a report of street flooding in progress. This is because of that very heavy rain, that big tornadic complex that moved through, no longer causing tornadoes, but street flooding in progress at the intersection of Centennial Olympic Park and Marietta Street. So we are looking at a whole lot of rain moving on through the area. We continue to have another report of numerous roads flooded around Georgia Tech in the Midtown area, and there are people continuing to confirm that the rain rate, again, briefly, now up to 20 inches an hour. They were measuring up to 20 inches an hour. The storm didn't stay still for 20 inches for an hour to allow 20 inches to fall, but that's just how heavy, how intense that rain has been as it's moved through the area. Those showers that we're talking about that dropped rain that heavily, now just north of Decatur, getting up towards Chamblee, stretching up towards Roswell. This is a torrential rain where visibility was almost nil, almost non-existent because of that very heavy rain. These reports continue. I'm looking at, and this is rainfall per hour. Measurements were coming in of 21 inches, 20 inches, 23 inches per hour. So it moved on through the area. It doesn't have to be there very quick, very long when rain's coming down that hard to start to cause flooding. And that's what we're seeing now at this point around Georgia Tech's campus and in Midtown Atlanta.
And certainly we're interested in hearing the weather story from your neighborhood. Several ways that you can connect with us if you visit our Fox 5 Atlanta Facebook page, facebook.com/Fox 5 Atlanta. You can post weather pictures from your neighborhood if you're in a safe location and have something to pass along to us there. We would appreciate seeing kind of some of the latest pictures you have from your neck of the woods. Also, you can connect with us on Twitter at Fox 5 Atlanta and the Fox 5 Storm Team, both available to you. Also, good to follow the Fox 5 Storm Team account on Twitter. Because they will tweet out those weather alerts, again, the instant that they come through. There's no delay. They come right to you there. We're also on Instagram at Fox 5 Atlanta. So if you have a weather picture to show us this evening that maybe you had a little bit in the daylight there, had a good frame of it. I know it's getting dark outside, but if you had something to capture there for us, we're interested in seeing those anytime that you have your weather pictures to share for us. But still a slow pace downtown as we continue to take a look at the connector, and lots of damage reports coming in. And authorities in Paulding County reported around 4:30, one person injured. We have an injury related to all of this, a lightning strike near Meadow Lark. And you can see the flashes continue to come in on our Georgia Power Cam looking downtown. Frequent flashes of lightning there, and that's what we're talking about here with a possible injury in Paulding County. And Georgia Power still, at the latest check, giving us about 2,000 customers without power. We're going to be monitoring that map in real time for you and let you know if that certainly increases. Let's see if we can go outside a little bit further. Take a look now at the I-85 southbound, south of Pleasantdale Road. You can see a pretty good rain collection on that camera there. but traffic is moving in that area, and certainly folks just taking it slow, trying their best to get home this afternoon. Let's take another look now at Fox 5 Live Viper radar at Adam Klotz as we continue to see some of the reds and some of the darker, brighter colors around, moving, it appears from this at least, Adam, out of the Decatur area, starting to finally move out of the heart of the metro area, moving up now to be more of the outer perimeter problem, the Sandy Springs, Brookhaven area.
Heavily populated areas, but this is still very, very heavy rain, which at times has been coming down at a rate of 15 to 20 inches per hour. Again, doesn't sit still for an hour, but that's all it takes. And this kind of heavy rain and strong winds will take down trees, which affects power lines. I actually do have Georgia Power's information in front of me right now, and we're looking at currently just over 3,800 customers without power at this point again, and it's mostly right along that line of where this leading edge of storms was and has been able to come on through and cause some damage. Again, we're looking at our live Viper at where the heart of this heaviest rain is at this point, moving up through the Chamblee area, continuing to move to the north and to the east. We'll be in Spaghetti Junction in just 1 minute. Obviously, at this point, getting right into the heart of the evening commute, right in Spaghetti Junction in 1 minute, in Norcross in 8 minutes. That's this particular cell. But all along this line, we see a good amount of showers. This is the heaviest cell, but there is rain all along this line of thunderstorms. So if I can move you a little farther up to the north, you will see, yes, the heavy rain continues all the way up this line, stretching up towards Alpharetta, to Roswell, to Cumming, and there are more storms that we can track. This leading edge moving to the north, to the northeast. If you're not in it yet, Johns Creek, you will be in about 8 minutes. Another storm track here just a little bit more to the north. This entire line lifting itself to the north and to the east, coming in 6 minutes, although I have a feeling it looks like Cummings is already getting hit pretty hard. Coal Mountain in 13 minutes as this continues to lift. It's almost training. If you're in Lake Lanier or Flowery Branch, you will soon be seeing showers work your direction as more and more rain continues to lift this direction. Now, if you're on the backside of this system, maybe you're in a spot where it's already moved on out of your area, you are going to get a little bit of a break. The rain continues. You can see these darker yellows. Yes, that's still showers moving through, but then you just get this gentle green. The heaviest rain is with this initial line of showers. That's what's doing all the damage. Then you got a couple more hours of rain, and then we dry off into the overnight hours, and you will get a little bit of a break from this very heavy, strong line of showers, and the lightning as well, which totals now at 15. The positive strikes are the dangerous ones. 4 positive strikes out there as of the last 10 minutes.
Adam, for almost 3 hours now, the Fox 5 Live Storm team has been tracking this system with you, staying with you on and letting you know of any developments as the storms approach the metro area. We appreciate all of you who are streaming along with us this afternoon on YouTube, and certainly let us know any damage reports that you have in your area. And if you have any questions for Adam or the Fox 5 Storm team, please feel free to let us know, and we'll do our best to get accurate forecast information for your neighborhood in particular. In just a few moments, we are going to join Fox 5 News at 6, so we're still about 10 minutes away, but we're going to join David Chanley and the Fox 5 Storm team, as well as the Fox 5 News team at Fox 5 News at 6. So we're going to join them in just a few moments. Just a program note to kind of let you know what's going on there. Let's continue our tour of some of the cameras we have to bring you right now. A live look at I-20 West. This is east of Langhorne Street. So this is I-20 West, not one of the areas that is under the gun at this time for the heavy rainfall. So some pretty good movement in that area, as well as downtown. We still have some sprinkles, as Adam's kind of been telling us. We have a collection of rain behind this initial line, but it was this initial line that we were very worried about, and this is where we've seen the strength for a lot of the weather that we've seen here this afternoon. And remember, you can connect with us on Facebook for Fox 5. It's facebook.com/Fox5 Atlanta, one of the ways to connect with us. But again, we're just about 10 minutes away from connecting with Fox 5 News at 6 here. And Adam, you've been giving us some of the damage reports. Anything that really stands out to you that's happened in the past, I would say 10 minutes as we're watching this system move more towards Sandy Springs and in and out of that area?
Well, there's a couple things, and the real highlight has continued to be just how much rain this system's able to drop, how much moisture is there. 2 to 3 inches in very short time has made, from reports, several roads already impassable throughout portions of Midtown Atlanta. And as this continues to lift that direction, there's no signs of the heavy rainfall slowing. Now, there is another point to be made And this is important because it sounds as though maybe we're winding this down, but we should not be doing that. This isn't really a winding down of things. There's still, when I look at this particular area, stretching towards Chamblee and up towards Alpharetta, and really just off towards Chamblee, where I have my mouse over right now, that's a spot where we're still seeing some broad rotation. Now, if it were to tighten and lower itself, again, a tornado warning would have to be issued. It hasn't been done yet, but this already has that history. If it didn't have that history, we wouldn't be looking at it as closely, but it does have that history of becoming a tornado. It once was spinning like this broadly, it tightened itself up, it became a tornado on the south side of Fulton County, and it's now spinning that way again. So it is something we're going to have to continue to pay attention to as it continues to track out. Hopefully it just falls apart and it isn't able to reform, but it certainly is acting like that's trying to do that, and it's something it wants to do.
Now, do you have the kind of the velocity mode, I guess? Where
We
you can
do
kind
have the
of
velocity, and
look at-
when we look at the
do you see
velocity,
that?
you're looking for really tight couplets. You need a really tight rotation for that to happen to be able to show up on velocity, so we aren't really getting those tight couplets. Those reds and those greens right on top of each other would indicate, yes, this is a tight spinning tornado. We don't have this. This is more of a widespread upper level rotation, so that's not really showing up at this point, but it's there. And if it were to tighten itself up, you'd start to notice those reds and those greens right on top of each other.
Our Fox 5 Storm team letting you know very early yesterday, even a little bit before that, of the weather threat that we're now experiencing of a rough commute on this Wednesday afternoon. But we do have at least what appears to be the major part of this storm system moving now to the outside of the perimeter. But as you can see, still some intense areas on your screen, and that's what the focus is at this hour. Again, in just about 7 minutes from now, we're going to join Fox 5 News live at the top of the hour. And Chief Meteorologist David Chanley, along with the Fox 5 Storm team and our team of reporters that are really all across the area tonight, bringing you the latest on these damage reports, because we've heard of possible injuries from lightning, a person struck possibly by lightning in Paulding County. So we're keeping a close eye on that, as well as some other reports of damage in the area. And we've certainly seen frequent lightning here throughout the evening, so that's a very real possibility that that certainly some of this frequent lightning has resulted in an injury there. And as we continue a live look right now at the downtown connector, kind of getting a clearer image there. Some of the rain continued to fall, but certainly not nearly as heavy as what we saw come in live, not only on this camera, but also at the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Really was impossible to see anything through these cameras as the wave of rain moved through. So this has been quite a storm to kind of navigate here. Looks like some police activity possible here. I-75 south of the river, so I-75 south here. A live look from our Georgia Department of Transportation camera there. So if you're in that area, be mindful that folks could be slowing down for some police activity. Maybe somebody had a little bit of a spin out there in the area on some very slick streets here. No matter where you are, certainly now you are experiencing the delays as part of this storm. And we're going to continue a look now at the Fox 5 Live Viper radar as we watch this area until it's well out of our viewing area. And we still have at least a good hour or two before this intense system is going to be out of our coverage area, and we're going to be sure to keep an eye on this throughout the evening until it is no longer a threat to us. Adam?
Yeah, well, just in the last 10 or 15 minutes, we've continued to have questions coming in, comments coming in on our live stream on the YouTube page about this system as it's developing, how it's affecting folks throughout all of North Georgia. A couple of those questions being, was there a tornado and did it touch down? This is someone coming in here as of recently, and we did have a tornado-warned storm near the Fulton-Coweta line. Now, again, this is radar indicated, and so far from emergency managers, we have gotten the indication that yes, the type of damage that you need for to confirm a tornado being touched down, that type of damage is there. They will have to go out and investigate, and we'll get to the bottom of that. But yes, there was a tornado-warned storm in portions of southern Fulton County a while ago, and that system, that complex that created that tornado-warned storm is now moving. I'm actually going to pull out a pin and circle it here for you. It now continues to lift, and it's moving to the north and to the east. That is the area that was packing that punch. That's something we're going to continue to track because it is still giving us up a little bit of broad rotation. So it's something we're going to be watching as it lifts to the north and to the east. Now, there are other questions out there as well beyond just the picture. Sorry, just the tornado. Sorry, trying to read the questions and talk to you at the same time. We also have a wind should it hit Barrow County. Barrow County getting over, not in Athens, but that direction. As you can tell, we're getting the storm now fairly well on the east side of the city. So we are expecting to see probably within the next half an hour to 45 minutes some of the heavier rain to work that direction. Barrow County getting lined up to get the same line of storms that has just dropped a ton of rain. Flooding has been an issue everywhere that this particular storm has moved on through the area. Barrow County answering that question, continuing to ask about where is the tornado going to head. Again, no tornado as of this moment, but it's this area right here that still has a rotation. It was a tornado, no longer a tornado. I can't put a track on it and try to decide where exactly this is headed for you. It continues obviously to lift to the north. Pleasant Hill here within about 10 minutes, although we're on the back edge of this. Gwinnett Place Mall in 13 minutes. Not a lot of lightning with it, but there's some, and we have already had some lightning injuries. So certainly plenty to be concerned about. Is it going to head, sorry, I'm reading questions to you as I'm tracking the storms here. And is it going to head south in ATL? It actually, the damage that we've already seen south of ATL is wrapping itself up now at this point. So I do think there are folks that still need to be paying attention. Of course, as we continue to track this, David Chanley will be taking over all through 6 o'clock. David Chanley and Jeff Hill in this Fox 5 Storm Center to make sure that we get through this storm safe and sound.
All right, thank you, meteorologist Adam Klotz here joining you folks for nearly 3 hours now is our commitment to you to make sure that you're safe through the storm and that you understand down to your neighborhood exactly what is going on. I want to take this opportunity one more time to invite you to download our free Fox 5 Storm Team app.
And now trees and power lines are down. Flooding is a major concern across our area, and more rain is on the way tonight along with some heavy winds. We have live team coverage of the weather threat with the Fox 5 Storm Team, and we begin with Chief Meteorologist David Chanley. David?
I've been here all afternoon with Jeff Hill and Adam Klotz monitoring this line of storms that kind of rolled on through here and intensified in some areas. So if you've had the storms, you're quiet now. If you haven't had them, they're on the way. And if you're having them, here's what's going on right now. Fox 5 Live Viper shows some pretty heavy rainfall with embedded gusty, damaging winds up here. This cell now has moved into Gwinnett County. Jeff and I were just looking at, see how that's got a little bit of a hitch to it right there as the line comes down out of North Fulton and Hall County and then all the way through Gwinnett and into portions of DeKalb and Rockdale. But this area here, the possibility of some damaging winds right now in and around Lilburn, making its way up to the northeast at about 35 miles an hour. That line right there is I-85. So between Stone Mountain and Lawrenceville, heavy rain with the possibility of some damaging winds. You see the motion of this now moving off to the northeast. There it goes. So it's heading up towards, say, Duluth and Suwannee and eventually on into Hall County. Now, on the south side from Conyers, McDonough, Griffin, all the way down into Zebulon and Pike County, very heavy rainfall with some gusty winds. Rainfall rates we've been looking at anywhere from 3 to 4 inches an hour. Now, it's not lasting all an hour, but you're getting that in short order, and that's causing, obviously, some flooding issues all across the metro Atlanta area with the ponding on the roads, the leaves blocking all the storm drains. And look at all this rain up here in North Georgia as it continues. Ellijay, Blue Ridge, over towards Cleveland and Clarksville. Heavy rain now into Forsyth County and just to the southern reaches there of Lake Lanier. This is what the live camera, the Georgia Power camera of downtown Atlanta looks like. It hadn't changed much in the past hour and a half. Those lights heading southbound, these coming northbound, and the connector is just jammed. Also understand there's power outages in and around places like Inman Park right here in town, and with the wind bringing down trees and power lines. Now, as we go forward in time, as the evening goes on, we're going to see the rain really intensify on the eastern side of metro Atlanta. So from Gainesville right through Covington and the other side of Griffin into Jackson. Yeah, you're going to get your share of this weather event. Begins diminishing by 7, 8 o'clock here in town, and still some lingering showers in the northern suburbs and the southern suburbs by 8, 9 o'clock. But the heavy rain will be over with, and we finally see some clearing in here by the later stages of the evening. Now, we had numerous reports of damage across North Georgia, and just coming into the Fox 5 Facebook page, We've got an impressive video right now from Xavier Keith. This is down there in South Fulton County with the possibility, yes, he's captured that funnel cloud, possible tornado that was responsible for some damage down there in South Fulton County and Fairburn. So we're going to continue to dive into that, as well as the news crews out there with trees down and flooding issues. But right now, my colleague, meteorologist Jeff Hill, joins me. And Jeff, as we roll on through now this evening, still several more hours of heavy rain, also the gusty winds, and you're going to outline the areas that are been hit the hardest so far.
That's right. We still have that wind threat going on as long as that system is moving through, and that's going to be for the rest of this evening. Once we get into the overnight hours, I think the winds will start to die down. But here's a look at some current wind speeds. These are the actual wind speeds. The gusts are much higher than that, and we'll put in our computer model here, and you can see as we go through time, right through about 7 o'clock, we got the potential of wind gusts well over 30 miles an hour all across the metro area, especially from Atlanta to the east. That's where the wind's going to be strongest, especially on the leading edge of that line of showers that's quickly moving to the east at about 35 miles an hour. We get to about 10, 11 o'clock tonight. That's when the winds will die down a little bit. They'll still be brisk, but notice how they start now coming in out of the west. That means the front will have pushed through, and after that we should start to see some clearing. We've had a lot of rainfall too. Of course, it's been heaviest back over in Alabama where it rained earlier today. We found some rain totals back over there anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. So far here in the metro Atlanta area, the rainfall amounts have been a little bit less, but just north of the Gadsden area, almost 3 inches of rainfall. Up toward Rome, 1.7, down toward Carrollton, picked up close to an inch or so. Here in Atlanta, 7/10 of an inch of rain, and a little farther to the north as you get up toward Blairsville, about a ½ inch there. So how much can we expect in the overnight hours into early tomorrow morning? Here in Atlanta, computer models giving us maybe another 2.5 inches of rain. I think that's what's with what we're getting so far early on this evening. Let's go out to Fox 5's Doug Evans. He went out in the Fox 5 Storm Chaser. Didn't have to go far to find problems. Downtown connector. Doug.
Come on, dude. That's right. We are on the downtown connector right now, and heavy rain has taken its toll on the commute this evening. We've got, right now, we're kind of in a lull with just some light drizzle out there. But I tell you, about 20 minutes ago, as we came in to downtown Atlanta on I-75 southbound, the rain was pouring down so heavily that this camera image that you see just didn't exist. It was just a big blur, just a big water blob on the windshield. The wipers couldn't even keep up with the amount of rain that is falling. So here we are on the downtown connector. We're coming up on the Varsity Restaurant. Might see the big V over there to your left. This is North Avenue. Heavy traffic making its way out of downtown right now. The other side is just as bad. We're heading to the south side where we understand there is some damage from the high winds earlier today. And so we are heading down there right now in the Fox 5 Storm Chaser. We've seen a lot of ponding on the road as well. So just make sure that you, keep it slow, keep it safe, and I think you'll be able to get where you need to go tonight. That's the very latest from the Fox 5 Storm Chaser. I'm Doug Evans.
All right, Doug, thank you. Fairburn police are on the scene of a fallen tree on Tell Road. That's where the heavy winds have knocked down power lines as well in the area. We have a crew headed to the scene there, and we will bring you updates on the damage as we get new information.
Now, the rain has fallen all afternoon long at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, the heaviest downpour about an hour ago, but flights are still leaving on schedule. We're told there have been no delays as a result of those storms.
And take a look at this downpour that just hit the Fox 5 studios off Briar Cliff. We just shot this video a few minutes ago, and as you can see, this system has brought torrential rain and heavy winds with it. As we deal with these severe storms tonight, make sure you keep track of things with the Fox 5 Storm Team app. You can get instant updates on watches or warnings and track Fox 5 Live Viper from your phone. It's available for free in your phone app store.
A Fox 5 News alert tonight. Police have released composite sketches of suspects wanted in the deadly robbery at a Covington Walmart parking lot. 65-year-old Marcia Johnson was run over several times as the suspects made their getaway. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live at Covington Police Headquarters tonight with the latest on the investigation. Deidre?
and police releasing composite sketches of the two suspects they are looking for. The man, they say, who ran over Mrs. Johnson, and the passenger, a woman who was in the car with the driver. They hope that these sketches will lead to a break in the case. Take a close look. Police say the man and woman in these composite sketches face felony murder and robbery charges in the death of 65-year-old Marcia Johnson. GBI forensic artist Kelly Lawson joined the team of Covington police investigators at their headquarters Wednesday morning to create the sketches as the search continued for the couple. Lawson met with witnesses of Monday's deadly robbery at the Walmart on Industrial Way, creating the sketches based on their description of the man who stole Johnson's purse, then ran her over several times as he made his getaway, and the woman who witnesses say was a passenger in the getaway car.
She didn't have to suffer like that. You know, he could have just stopped and gave up, and it probably would have went different.
And this man, one of the witnesses who met with the GBI artist, asked not to be identified out of concern for his safety. He crashed his car into the suspects to try to stop him from fleeing the crime scene that night.
We were trying to get him out the car, trying to make him get out the car.
What'd you say to him?
You know, stop, get out. Help is on the way, so, you know, get out.
Police released surveillance video and pictures of the suspect vehicle, described as a gray or silver 90s model Honda four-door with damage to the driver's door. The suspect, described as an Hispanic male in his 30s, 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighing 250 to 300 pounds with a black goatee. He wore jeans, a dark hoodie, and white tennis shoes.
We didn't name on our suspect, and we didn't know where he's at.
The release of these sketches, the latest development in the case. Police say the heavy media coverage has generated leads. Meantime, the reward for information leading to the suspect's capture increased overnight.
In conjunction with Walmart, Crime Stoppers, and the Covington Police Department Police Who Care program, we've increased our reward money to $10,000 in any information that lead to an arrest in this case.
And police do hope that that $10,000 reward and the release of the composite sketches this afternoon will lead to quick arrests in this case. And that's the latest here in Covington. Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
You have to believe someone's going to recognize that car, too. Deidre, thanks. Developing tonight, a young mother shot and killed inside her own home. And tonight, Atlanta police have made an arrest in her murder. Deonta Greer is now charged in Tiffany Bailey's death. He's being held at the Fulton County Jail. Bailey was shot in the head at her apartment on Cleveland Avenue 2 weeks ago. Police tell Fox 5 there is evidence of a struggle inside the home. Now, Atlanta police are investigating a shooting at the Southwest Atlanta church where Bailey's funeral was being held. It happened just before noon yesterday at Workhouse of Faith Baptist Church. Witnesses told police people in a white sedan fired shots in the direction of that church. Thankfully, no injuries were reported.
Diners at one Buckhead restaurant got quite the shock when they finished their meals. When they walked out of the St. Cecilia, they found out their cars had been stolen. And as Fox 5's Morris Diggs tells us, these thieves were able to snatch the car keys without the valets noticing.
You may already know this, so bear with me. It is not a good idea to leave any valuables in your car if you want a valet. Even if you go to a good establishment, something bad could always happen. Now, listen to one motorist's story. The table is set, and at finer restaurants, upon your arrival, a valet will greet you with a smile to take the chore of parking off your hands. One evening at this Buckhead eatery, things didn't go well for 3 motorists.
I told the valet that there was personal belongings in the vehicle, my briefcase, my coworker's briefcase, and his travel bag. So I told him to make sure it was locked up, and we went in for dinner like we normally do.
I caught up with 2 of the motorists by phone whose evening out turned into headaches. The first motorist said once the appetizers were finished, a restaurant manager came over with some news about an incident with his Range Rover, and the police had already been called.
Okay, so someone hit my vehicle. It happens. That's not really that big a deal. And they said, no, sir, that's not really what happened. Your vehicle was stolen, along with 2 others, personal items, the computers, the passports, the office keys, the house keys, everything. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
There were 5 to 6 young people trolling the property, according to information given to police. It's believed they somehow got hold of 3 sets of keys and drove off. When I contacted the restaurant management, one of the managers told me their PR firm would be in contact with me. As yet, I haven't heard from them. Reporting from Zone 2 in Buckhead, I'm Morse Diggs, Fox 5 News.